It's Wednesday, the 23rd day of July 2025. Good morning to our audience on our digital terrestrial channels, on DSTV channel 421, on GoTV channel 125. Good morning to our global audience around the world on myjoyonline.com, on Facebook, on X Spaces, and on YouTube. You're welcome to the best breakfast show on the block, the most informative, educative, and analytical breakfast show. And we are your hosts. I'm Sweetie Abochi.
And I am Samuel Kojo Braze, and you know what, there's a lot happening in this country, but there's one thing I learned from Sweetie Abochi this morning. I asked her a simple question. Have you ever cared about those who doubt you? She says, no, I've never cared about them. You know what? Most of the time, I've realized that we tend to care too much about those who doubt that we have a potential and destroy our own dreams in the process. This morning, if you're one of such people, I want to assure you, I want to encourage you, never give in to your doubters. After all, who cares about people who don't really believe in them and in their dreams? Don't care about them. Let your dreams scare you, because that is how you drive that change that you want to. And when you dream, go in that corner where your Father listens to you and leave everything to God Almighty and watch the miracles unfold. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Kojo.
Good morning.
That was very inspirational. I like that. It's a great start to my day.
I took it from you, yeah.
So, folks, let's tell you what to expect. Like we always do, we start with the AM News, bringing you all the latest updates on stories in and around the country. And in that belt, we'll bring you the business updates. Then after that, you get the AM Sports. Then the conversation starts right after with the news review segment. And today is a day for the academics. We have Dr. Kwame Asasante. He's a political scientist and the head for the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. And then we have Dr. Jabri Muhammad. He's also a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And of course, Dr. Pacqui Ediafo Abedu, and he is a development analyst. So they'll join us to review the newspapers. Could you tell you about our big stories?
Well, I'm sure by now you've learned that the Attorney General has entered a nolle prosequi in the high-profile case involving former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufo and 7 others who were facing charges related to the collapse of Unibank. The decision announced by the Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai effectively discontinues the criminal proceedings against the accused and move the AG's office attribute to the significant recovery of state funds. Now, several people have shared a lot of thought on this. Some disagreeing vehemently with the government position on this. We'll delve into this matter here on the AM show.
Well, also, we'll take you to the Tema Oil Refinery Enclave, where drivers are worried about the bad nature of roads there. That special report airs this morning on the AM show. And also, we'll bring you AM Business and other conversations that you don't want to miss. And of course, we'll continue our engagement with our sponsors and exhibitors for this year's EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Folks, it's a 4-hour packed show this morning. You don't want to miss anything. Welcome aboard the AM show. First on our order, let's get into the AM News. This is the AM News. I'm Sweetie Abochi, bringing you all the details now. Let's start from Parliament, because Majority Leader Mahama Yariga says the NDC will use its overwhelming majority in Parliament to advance Ghana's democracy and will not abuse the electorate's trust. The NDC yesterday cemented their 2/3 majority following the swearing-in of Member of Parliament for Ablekuma North, Irabna Oben, which was marked with a dramatic walkout by the NPP minority. And our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, reports.
The deputy leaders as members of the delegation, that has always been the tradition. The deputy leaders always go to the ECOWAS Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this side is sending Honorable George Kweku Rikets-Hagan in his capacity as a deputy leader.
Taking 7 months, and finally Ablekuma North is represented in Parliament. For the last 7 months, it's been a battle, legal and political, with the Electoral Commission in the middle of it, where the NPP fighting the Electoral Commission and asking them to declare their candidate as winner. The Electoral Commission stood its ground for some time, But at some point, it buckled and decided to do a rerun in 19 polling stations in Ablekuma North. It did hold the election, and the NDC's Irabna Obin came out victorious. And so, after 7 months, their member of parliament walked into parliament. But before she would take her oath of office, the minority did raise some objections and wanted to be heard.
We in the minority want to make a comment, a quick comment, before the member-elect is sworn in. And I seek your indulgence to do this quickly.
Are there legal objections that he intends to raise? What is that? And I don't think that we even want to hear what it is now. We are happy to hear it after the process is consummated. If he could not arrest anything at the Electoral Commission and could not arrest it at the police station, it is not here this morning that he's going to be able to arrest anything.
Before she would take her oath of office, the minority did raise some objections and wanted to be heard. Well, after the Speaker decided he wasn't going to grant them any hearing until after the oath of office had been taken, they decided to walk out.
If that is the turn of event, then we in the minority, for the records, cannot be part of the swearing in. Yes, we cannot be part of the swearing in. So we are walking out. And this one is specific to the swearing in. Other businesses will engage in it.
Despite this walkout, the swearing in took place.
I, Obin Arabina,
having been elected a member of parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
With the NDC now having 2/3 majority in parliament, even without requiring the independent MPs to form this, Majority Leader Muhammad Yariga says they will not abuse these numbers.
The National Democratic Congress now, for the first time in a very long time, has 2/3 of this House. Mr. Speaker, with this number, we can do many good things for this country. We can carry out significant constitutional reforms to make this country better. Ghanaians today have given us all the numbers that we need to reset Ghana. I want to assure Ghanaians that what President John Dramani Mahama said when he was being sworn in still stands, that the National Democratic Congress will not abuse the majority given to it by Ghanaians. We will use it wisely.
Despite the swearing in of Irabna Obin as the latest member of parliament, parliament is still not set. It would have been set, but for the passing of the member of parliament for Akutia, which will mean a by-election again on the horizon for a new member of parliament to take his or her seat in the Chamber of Parliament. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Away from parliaments, traditional rulers across the country have been tasked to find lasting solutions to the long-standing chieftaincy disputes in their regions. Speaking during a legal training, representatives of National and Regional House of Chiefs, as well as directors from the Ministry of Local Governance in Accra, Director of the Judicial Service Training Institute, Justice Amadou Tanko, mentioned fast-tracking chieftaincy disputes will facilitate peace, stability and national development. Mamavi Sefakote has more.
The two-day training session at the Institute of Local Government Studies in Accra for 16 legal counsels from the National and Regional Houses of Chiefs was aimed at strengthening the capacity of traditional rulers in resolving chieftaincy disputes. The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, assured the Council of improved conditions of service for traditional leaders based on the presidential-approved economic support that will take effect from September this year. He was hopeful the push will aid their operations mainly on settling chieftaincy disputes which impede development.
As I speak to you, For the chiefs, starting from the chiefs, the president has approved increment for economic conditions of service for the chiefs. Is it third quarter? By third quarter, those economic conditions of service will be delivered to the chiefs. If we don't know anything at all, we know the cause of instability. We know the cause of chieftaincy dispute. We know the cost of organizing RISEC and DISEC to deal with chieftaincy dispute.
Director of the Judicial Training Institute, Justice Amadou Tanko, also tasked the council to find alternative means of resolving the many chieftaincy disputes pending before the Supreme Court.
I would like the Honorable Minister to take this serious without prejudice to pending matters. Accra is definitely a flashpoint. I'm aware there is something in the Supreme Court coming on either next week or in another week. Why the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs has not been able to determine that dispute, Honorable Minister, is shocking. So we need the Judicial Committee of the Greater Regional House of Chiefs to make a determination one way or the other and stop handling this very sensitive litigation in piecemeal.
Legal advisor of the National House of Chiefs, Alex Obeng Asante, stated that they would do their best to work towards solving chieftaincy disputes in the regions.
We are post, we are public service lawyers, we are working, we get paid by the taxpayers' money. So we are not saying we are not working. We are working. We are working. You bring your case, the panel is assembled, we hear you.
Chieftaincy disputes have been a bane to modernization and innovation in some regions. The training to the representatives to break away from this act negatively impacting their communities. For Joy News, Mama Visa Fakote's report read to you.
I want to take you to Burkina Faso now, where 2 persons returning from a funeral have been reported drowned in the Black Volta. The duo, Techi Patrick, who's 30 years old, and Male Nuba Cynthia, who's 38 years old, both hailed from Pankpama. Now, their boat capsized at Pankpama, prompting a search by local divers. The body of Male Nuba Cynthia was later retrieved at Tuoli, and another community located near the Black Volta in the district. This tragic incident comes on the heels of the drowning of 7 senior high school students from Laura Senior High School last month at Dikpe. And our Joy News Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Bankpama.
In neighboring Burkina Faso, when the boat capsized few meters away from their place of disembarkment, their 30-year-old Techi Patrick and middle-aged Cynthia. Wawa's district chief executive Richard Wulo revealed that the duo were on the boat with 2 others, including a 3-year-old baby who was miraculously saved from drowning by the operator of the boat, who is of Burkinabe extraction. A search party consisting of local divers, after 2 days, found Cynthia at Tuoli, which lies several kilometers away from the scene of the disaster. The incident has thrown the Bankpama community into a state of confusion and mourning.
I had a call that some people got drowned in the Black Volta around Bankpama in the Wild West district. So the following day, that was on Monday, we were there. These were people that attended a funeral in Burkina Faso. After the funeral, they were returning to Ghana. And on crossing the Black Volta, the boat capsized, and then 2 of them got drowned, a man and a woman. So currently, as we speak, only the woman has been retrieved around a community called Tuoli. For the man is still missing and the search team is still on.
The incident has thrown the Bankpama community into a state of confusion and mourning. Richard Wulo asserted that he has met with some security stakeholders in the district to find a lasting solution to these disasters that normally occurs during the peak rainy season when the water level on the Black Volta is high.
I invited the NADMO, the district NADMO director was there. The regional NADMO also came in, and they assured us that they will provide some life jackets so that we will use it as safety measures for people who always want to cross over to the other side.
The Wovers District Chief Executive expressed worry about the age group of people manning the operations of the boats, adding that there is a need for sensitization coupled with stringent punitive measures to ward off children from the operation of the boats.
I noticed that minors were using the canoes, and I think that is quite unfortunate. So I advise that we can put in some basic regulations as regards to water transportation so that we save their lives. I realized that some children as low as between 9 to 10 years were using the canoes, and I think that that is not allowed. So I think that if we have to all come together in collaboration with NEDMO so that we can sensitize communities around those areas living closer to the Black Volta to put in some safety measures to avoid some of these occurrences.
The incident is coming on the heels of the Dikwe disaster that claimed the lives of 7 students of Laura Senior High School, who the region is yet to recover from. Reporting for Day News, Rafik Salam, Bampama.
The Free Senior High School coordinator, Benita Sena Okitijia, has revealed government's decision of a pilot inclusion of 60 private senior high schools in the Free Senior High School program. And this follows the Ministry of Education's move to integrate 25 private schools into the national placement system. Speaking at the 20th anniversary celebration of St. Andrew's Senior High School in Asinfosu, Okitijia described the decision as a bold and strategic step, adding that the government intends to expand the pilot inclusion of the in the 2026-2027 academic year. Abigail Isalinkroma reports.
The 20th anniversary celebration of St. Andrew's Senior High School in Asinfosu was marked by a speech and prize-giving event which acknowledged the academic achievements and contributions of students and teachers while highlighting the school's success over the years. Dr. Richard Esiedu is the owner of the school.
We gather to celebrate a momentous occasion, that's the 20th anniversary of our founding, and beautiful faces and spectacle I behold reminds us of the power of education to transform lives and shape futures. From humble beginnings to the community of schools we have today, St. Andrews has grown and evolved, yet we remain committed to the core values of hard work, excellence, and integrity. We have continued to track the progress of our students in the main public universities and other institutions in the country. Our statistics shows that St. Andrew's Senior High School has been responsible for the intake of 4,000 students at the University of Ghana, 3,600 students at the University of Cape Coast, 3,100 students at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and over 3,000 students at the University of Education. I'm talking about from level 100 to level 400.
Speaking to the theme of the day, the Free SHS coordinator, Benita Sena Okitijia, announced government's plan of a pilot inclusion of 60 private senior high schools in the program, in a move she describes as bold and strategic.
The theme for today's event, the inclusion of private senior high schools in Free SHS program, a mirage or reality, is both provocative and appropriate. In a bold and strategic move, the government has commenced the pilot inclusion of 60 private senior high schools in the Free SHS program. And I'm proud to say St. Richard's is part of the private school pilot this year.
Professor George Kweku Odro, a professor of educational leadership at the Institute for Educational Planning and Administration at the University of Cape Coast, urged parents and academic stakeholders to appreciate the purpose for which the school was established.
As we celebrate the 20th anniversary of St. Andrew's Schools, I urge students, teachers, headmasters to always reflect on the fundamental purpose for which St. Andrew's Schools were established by the founder, Professor Richard Esiedu, as as we journey through the next 20 years.
From Asenfosu, Abigail Lissal Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
In other news, the former Chief Executive Officer of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, Charles Abugri, wants the Northern Caucus in Parliament to revisit the SADC's strategic plan. This plan, he said, aimed to boost economic growth in northern Ghana through short and medium-term strategies. The plan covers key areas like education, agri, jobs, among others. Mr. Abugri noted that feasibility studies had been conducted on some of these projects, including the Paulugu Dam and other dams, to support agriculture in the northern Ghana. He shared these thoughts at the first Northern Ghana Development Conference in Tamale, organized by the Northern Caucus in Parliament.
Northern Ghana Development Conference under the theme A Northern People, Leaders in Partnership brought together all the members of Parliament from Northern Ghana Development Partners, chiefs, among other stakeholders, to dialogue on a new approach to bringing development to the area, spearheaded by the MPs for the area. Speaking at the inaugural gathering in Tamale, the former Chief Executive Officer of SADA said these dams, when constructed, would help irrigate up to 5,000 hectares on an average.
I would like to ask this caucus and the current government and successive government to commit to at least 3 medium-sized dams. By medium-sized dams, I mean dams that irrigate a minimum of 5,000 hectares on average per electoral cycle. 3 feasibility studies have been conducted and paid for by the World Bank for at least 12 of these dams. They don't cost billions. They cost between $60 million and $100 million a piece. The benefits are far bigger. We don't need to be stuck with the Paulugu Dam alone.
The Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, assured the caucus of President Muhammad's support.
I'm so happy that the initiative is being started by the people themselves, and I want to assure you that definitely you will get the necessary support from your son. Your son, President John Dramani Mahama, is willing to accelerate the development of the North and accelerate the development of the country. And so my plea is that let's put politics aside, and as has been stated by the earlier speakers, let's approach this project with a bipartisan approach.
The majority leader of Parliament, Mahama Yerga, outlined the rationale for the conference.
Is to set aside partisan differences and forge a common commitment to the Northern cause, to work together to achieve the objectives of development of the North, to do whatever it takes to improve the living conditions of our people, to leverage on our knowledge, experiences, and networks to guide our regional ministers, NMDCs, chiefs, and our private sector to advance the economic development of the 5 regions.
Takes us into our business update now with Samuel Kojo-Brace.
Let's do business update now by starting with what is happening on the currency market. Away from that, the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders has welcomed the Bank of Ghana's new set of guidelines on the application of exchange rates at the ports, arguing it will address discrepancies in forex pricing. The Bank of Ghana, in a statement, directed players in the shipping industry to publish daily exchange rate used invoicing on their website and communicated to customers prior to the issuance of invoices or payment. Reacting to the development, First Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Nana Esiama Pepra I, said the move will ensure transparency and alignment with regulatory frameworks.
The shipping lines, they are one of the major operators of the port. There are several shipping lines in Ghana. They all use different exchange rates. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana issue exchange rate for the week, which customs and other port operators use for the week. So every week, every Monday, there is a new exchange rate that comes. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it comes down. Mostly, until recently, it goes up. But to our surprise, the shipping lines don't comply with that. They use their own exchange rate. And that is one of the major issues that we have been raising. And luckily enough, we are happy to hear this thing from the president through the Bank of Ghana.
Great. Let's wrap up the business update with what's happening on the commodities market. Well, that does it for the business update. Time for us to bring in Muftau, Abdullah, and Abela to bring us the sport where the Black Queens,
unfortunately, couldn't make the final. Yeah. And many Ghanaians were actually hoping that we would see the Queens there. Yeah. First time in 9 years, we are seeing them in the semi-final of the competition. Yeah. And they had tons of opportunities to make this dream a reality.
After we scored the first goal,
so many chances to kill the game, but unfortunately they did not. And this is where we find ourselves. Sometimes it's quite difficult to actually appreciate some of the things surrounding football, but that's what the game is all about. It comes with so much unpredictability. So Black Queens, 3rd and 4th place against South Africa. Yeah. Which was the team's opening game in this tournament. Yes, so they're coming against South Africa once again. Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, we're bringing sports up next, and right after that, the newspaper review will also come your way. It's the Joy Sports Invitational season, and on Tuesday we were at Apex Bank, and their MD, Mr. Alex Ewua, has told participants that they should not underrate the bank. According to him, they've got about 147 branches across the country and about 8 million customers. And with the support of all these 8 million people, they will be coming to the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament to dominate.
everyone. This is ARB Apex Bank, and we are Apex is the mini central bank for all your 147 rural and community banks in Ghana. Do you know what that means? We are backed by over 8 million customers. Come night August, we are bringing our A game to the Joy Sports Tournament at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I say Apex is back to show you again, I mean they are back with great results. Kindly expect us. We are coming with the heat with volleyball, table tennis, basketball, soccer, and chess. We are back bigger and stronger. Expect us. Be there to recognize our glory. Be there to witness our glory.
Last year, we won 4 medals and 1 trophy. This indicates to you that we are the best among them. On the 9th of August 2025, anticipate the best from Apex Bank. Agronic form. We are without any doubt. Anticipate with us. ARB Apex Bank together for. What is our name? What is our name? What does Apex stand for? We are at the very top. Last year was an amazing edition. And just ourselves, we were second on the medal table. Just us. This time around, we are coming for everything.
Once we are together, we are strong. So you can believe that we go into it, even when we are not prepared, because we are united, we can always win.
And you got about, was it 5 medals last year? Yes, of which 2 of them were gold. That was quite incredible, your maiden competition. But talk to me, what are the special things you are doing this year?
Well, since that time, in fact, we've put in structures in the bank, and we have a sports committee, and we've, built up some infrastructure which helps us to prepare for these events. So you can believe that this year is going to be beautiful.
Why are you finishing? You said piao.
So don't take us for granted. We are a very strong bank. We are preparing, and that day, a lot of things will happen.
The grace that is following us, you have no idea. Divine grace brought us medals. That's all I can say.
Halima, we understand you have 8 million people. I bring all of that to the stadium.
The strength of all the 148 rural community banks in 8 million customers right behind us. And our management and our board are also behind us. They supported us with a lot of equipment to train. We even sent some of our staff to Chelsea. Now the Blues are winning, so they are going to train. Our football team is in Chelsea now training. So watch out for us. Watch out for us. Watch out. Watch out. Excellence rounds in our vein. Excellent rounds in our vein.
Last year around this time, we stood on this very ground, and we decreed a decree, and it came to pass. We came, we saw, and we conquered.
Everybody ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? One more stop. Who are we? Together for progress.
And later today, we'll be at the National Identification Authority as they also gear up for the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. The likes of Safoda Ventures, IS Revolution, Royal Switch Limited, Ayuda. We've already recorded out of Ayuda. They say they are app Bako and services Bebre, and we've recorded them, and they spoke a lot ahead of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. We will soon be in your office as well to bring you an update of what you are preparing or putting together ahead of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. If you want to register for the competition, contact this number, 054-010-6466. You can WhatsApp or place a phone call. You can also go on myjoyonline.com. Any of the stories that we've published on the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament has got a form in it, and you can just download the form, fill it, and submit, and you'll be part of this year's Joy Sports Invitational Tournament.
Welcome back to the AM show, and it's time now for us to review the newspapers, but a gentle reminder that the show is sponsored by Syntex Tanks, a strong, a tough. Welcome to the second hour of the AM show. Let's review the newspapers. Those who join us, Dr. Kwame Asasante is a political scientist and head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. And we have Dr. Jabri Muhammad. He's senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. Dr. Pacqui Abedu is a development analyst, and he's actually with me now, so we'll start there. Dr. Pacqui Abedu, good morning. Welcome to the show.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking. Yesterday was an interesting day in courts and in Parliament. I don't know which of them caught your attention, but I'd like to get into your thoughts for us this morning.
Very well. A very good morning to your cherished viewers and everyone listening to us as well. Yes, very interesting, especially with the swearing in of the new MP for Ablikman North, Rabna, right?
Yeah.
I loved the words of the speaker, and I think they were very reflective. They gave a certain sober environment as to what is expected of a member of parliament and the need for her to listen to the needs of the people and address their needs. I think it was a good one, and so the message was not to me directed only at the new member of parliament, but to all parliamentarians. It was a good reminder, and I think any well-meaning parliamentarian who wished well for his or her people ought to go through certain kind of reflection and see what strategies that they can redevise to ensure that the welfare of the people is improved.
Well, thank you.
The bigger reflection that I want to give is
please,
really about the Muhammad care. Yes, sweetie, it's a very fantastic policy by all standard. It's a very fantastic intention by all standard. It's a good one. For me, anything that improves the well-being of the people, I am for it. And so for the president to think through this and think about people suffering from non-communicable diseases, and of course, to even contribute positively, add up to our current health system, which we all know is not really the best. It's a very good thing that we need to commend the president for. I have followed keenly the Obamacare in the US, and how good it's been so far. The only challenge, the only problem, which I want the president and the government to learn from, is how at a time the policy was being politicized, just because a certain president's name, a certain president who came from a certain political party's name was used to promote the whole policy. And so I will admonish. Yes, we know that this policy is coming from President John Dramani Mahama, but just so knowing very well the kind of environment, the kind of political environment we find ourselves in, let's propagate the policy itself. Let's propagate the intent and everything that is embedded in the policy, and not necessarily the name that comes with it, so that if tomorrow President Mahama is no more and another president is there, the person wouldn't feel entitled or responsible for sustaining the policy. And so it's a good one by all standards, sweetie, but it also tells us that, look, non-communicable diseases are becoming critical issues for us as a people. Today, a lot of young people, not just the aged, young people are suffering from stroke, diabetes, and all sorts of problems that initially people were even saying they are diseases for the rich or for the Western world.
Right. But Doc, are you suggesting that the name be changed? If it makes next administrations comfortable to keep it. There's a whole conversation we have to have about backing these development plans and initiatives by law, so that it's not that easy for the next or successive governments to change them, right? Are you suggesting that they change the name from Muhammad Cares to something more sustainable, maybe?
Yes, I think that it has its original name. That I think there's something fund. I'm not too sure just to put the name, but the Muhammad Care is the popular one that is used to propagate the policy, of course, which resonates easier or which is likely going to resonate easier with people. And that
so we shouldn't call it Muhammad Cares, I guess. You go with the policy rather than say Muhammad Cares. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
okay.
my thought.
Okay.
That's my thought.
All right.
About that.
Well, thank you. I'm here with my co-uncle, and I think you are the first person to join us. So while we wait for the other guests, I will get into the newspapers. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. The story's on the front page. We're just talking about that. Law-backed development plan must be, or should be a must, according to Nam and Dani, and that's his proposal. Children abandon school for marijuana farms in the Volta region. Shocking. I will get into that when I start getting to the papers proper. Graphic, NIC, GIA insurance fair tomorrow. Attorney General discontinues case against Dufour, 7 others, recovers required funds. And so let's start from there. Ghana needs a let's start from law-backed development plan, So Ghana needs a legally binding national development plan to break the cycle of abandoned projects and ensure sustainable development. Traditional ruler and former managing director of Stanbic Bank Ghana, Nal Hassan Andani, said a clear and legally binding national development plan was needed to guide the country's growth agenda. Tomorrow, we are going to be hearing from the finance minister, and already we are hearing about Agenda 111 projects, hospitals being abandoned, and some people are asking that, we're hoping to see whether or not some allocations will be made to complete those projects. And so for me, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I want to get to that story about children abandoning school to farm in marijuana, for marijuana farms. And that story is on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. Some basic school pupils in parts of the Volta region are now skipping classes to work as laborers on marijuana plantations for very low wages. The president of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, Togbi Teprehodo IV, has reviewed, and he described the situation as dreadful, saying the trend posed a very bleak future for the region. Before I even go to Dokojo, this is alarming, is it not? That basic school, when I first saw the headline this morning, I thought, these are maybe secondary school students, but basic school pupils abandoning school to go and, labor in marijuana farms? Yeah. Are they getting high?
I think that parents have a huge responsibility here, because when the child has not moved from the home to the school, it is assumed that the child is still under the care of the parent. Yeah. So how are the parents also checking that whether their children are in school or not? Or are they doing that with the blessings of the parents themselves? And if that is the case, what could be the rationale for a parent to say, abandon school, which is your future, and go and labor on a farm? I will not be angry with the parent who allows the child to go and labor on weekends. When I was young, I was farming with my mother. I wouldn't even describe it as child labor, because I was assisting my mother. I was not under any compulsion. But this is when it takes away the child from school. That falls within the definition of the child labor.
Exactly.
So I think that parents have a huge responsibility to check that. Again, I think leadership in the communities also have that responsibility to check it as well. Because when the children are young like that, I think we should not leave the management of the kids on the parents alone. We should go back to the state where the child was a child for every parent of the community. When I was growing up, I was not my mother's child alone. I was a child for several mothers and several fathers.
That's one of the things we are losing without recognizing it. The communal living, the way we grew up, If you were messing up in town, anyone had the right to
cane you. And come and tell your parent
these days, because
I saw your child here, he was misbehaving, and I whipped him or her. Your father will whip you on top of that.
We've lost it. But it's a good time to introduce our two other guests who join us. We have Dr. Jabri Muhammad. He's a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. And we have Dr. Kwame Asasante. He joins us on phone. Dr. Kwame Asasante, let me start with you. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. And good morning to you, of course, to my colleagues and the rest of our viewers.
Fantastic to have you. So, let me start with you, Doc. We just read a story about an appeal or proposal to back development plans by law so that it's easier to continue projects that are abandoned by erstwhile administrations, so successive governments can take on these projects. And then there's also another story about children in some parts of the Volta region who are abandoning school to labor on marijuana farms. And Koju was just sharing his take on the matter. And I'm just thinking, even if they have the blessing of the parents, should you be laboring in a marijuana farm? But let me hear your thoughts on these stories, Doc.
Yes. Would you permit me to also...
Yes, please.
Give
my
views on some of the issues.
Yes,
Today,
please.
I want to look at the MPP by July 31st. They are opening up nominations for the presidential primaries. Congratulations to them. And let me also congratulate them for last week, delegate conference. They did it well. One of the things that is worth mentioning here is the framers of the Constitution who thought it wise that after every election, they will go and review their Constitution. I think it's a good thing because you might have experienced something in a regime that your party is in office. And then there is something that has gone wrong. It will inform you as to what you do. But that aside, I want to take this opportunity to advise them that very soon they are going to start campaign as to those who want to contest for the flag bearership race. I believe that they should, first of all, look themselves or consider themselves as a family so that the contest will be civil and decorous, without insult, without destruction, without character assassination. Because whatever candidate that somebody or they seek to destroy, at the end of the day, if he emerges as victorious, that person is going to stand in their name and campaign, and by which time the harm has already been done. They should take lessons from last election and then work very well and ensure that the campaign will be campaign of ideas, campaign of issues. Anybody who wants to go there on the altar of insult or through the vehicle of insult, attack, and the rest of them, you realize that that person is not fit for purpose. And for that matter, the people should reject it. Issue of ethnicity doesn't play any role in election in this country, and so is religion. So those who want to have fun, play the ethnic card, play religious card in MPP, I am telling them that if they go into the literature of voter choices, they will find that there is very little evidence in there. What really wins people the vote is your strategy, your message, your resources, and the way you organize your things. And I think I will rest my case here.
Thank you, Doc.
Now I'll move on to the issues you have brought up. The people and the working on marijuana farm. That children who are going to be the future of this country are subjected to such ordeal. I am happy and I salute the Regional House of Chiefs who have noted this. And I will urge them to use all means possible to get these children back to school. Because we as a society should recognize that children are always the what we have, nothing more, nothing less. And whatever decision we take about them, let us make reference to the Constitution. It said it should be in the best interest of the child. What they are doing, is it in the best interest of that child or the children there? We should take note and then get them out. Let them go to school. Remember, basic education is free and compulsory. So whoever is keeping them there must be told that the long arm of the law will reach him sooner than later. And we as a society, starting from parents should know that their child development starts from with them, and that the socialization process must continue and make sure that we inculcate certain good values in them. Taking them out of classroom is no. The society must stand up against it so that we get the children back to school. But could you say something which has been with us over the years, where when we were little boys, our parents were all the parents in the society. And for that matter, if you did anything wrong, anybody would correct you. Today, that story has changed. And that is one of the reasons why we are seeing what we are seeing.
Right.
You could not go to school, in my case, at a Kropong, and then you go and buy food from the seller, and then the first thing is that I will buy meat or fish. It raises alarm. The woman has known that the money is the stolen money, and he will give you food, no fish, and come and report your conduct to your parents in the evening.
Right.
I tell you, that was the society where discipline was the order of the day. Let's come back to it.
Right.
Then,
right.
Well, if there are need for modification, we do. But leaving our children on marijuana farm, we are destroying their future.
Right.
Plan, the development plan must be, we should implement that, particularly uncompleted projects of previous government. I think that's the second story.
Yes.
Yeah. It is one of the stories that have really been on my mind over the years. Because if you look at the kind of resources we spend in developing facilities or projects for this country, and only to find out that the new government is in office, they don't want to give credit to the old government that started the project, so they abandon it. That culture is simply uninformed culture. It is just simply not good. Why? Because if you read the Constitution, I think Article 35(7) tells us that any project which has been started by a previous government, the new regime should take up. We have seen a whole lot of buildings in the bush. Why are we doing this thing to ourselves when we have spent so much? I will urge the people of this country to insist that this regime, starting from this regime, will complete all the abandoned projects so that we can have value for money. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? And then let us not leave them and then go and start new ones. We should make sure that the old ones get completed and then before we start new ones.
Thank you, Dr. Kwame Asasante. It's a good time to hear from Dr. Jabri Muhammad as well. And Doc, feel free to start with your initial reflections on any topical issue. And then I want to hear your thoughts on these children abandoning school for marijuana farms. And just, to give you a bit of details there, Togbi Hodo is saying that some of the children are offered the substance to smoke on the farms. And once addiction sets in, they will definitely drift off. And I'm quoting him here. And so he's calling on law enforcement to tackle this menace and nip it in the bud. Dr. Mohammed, your take now.
Then, Doc, before you come in, because of that new information, I said earlier that I wouldn't really begrudge a parent for allowing the child to go there on weekends. But to get to know that they are giving weed to the kids, as for that is a no-no. Then you don't even have to let them get close to it at all. If it was a cassava farm,
you bring some cassava home.
Yeah, but for and they are giving it to them there. That something has to be done. I think that those farms have to be dealt with.
Yeah.
In fact, if there's evidence that that's what they do, they don't need.
There are about 2 chiefs who corroborated the story, so it's actually happening. Let's listen to Dr. Mohammed now. Doc, good morning. First of all, I think you're muted. Yeah. Okay, I think we have some technical challenge there.
Doc is trying to unmute.
Yes, yes.
So that
okay, so I'm going to go to Dr. Pacqui. Okay, Doc, if you're muted, let's go. Let's hear you now.
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to our listeners. This morning, I just want to look at the scrapping of the COVID-19 levy. I just read somewhere in your news handles that the government is planning in the mid-year budget review to remove the COVID-19 levy, and this has been backed by the IMF. There was a purpose why the COVID-19 levy was introduced. If you could remember, at the beginning of this year, my argument was that why don't we pick that funding and take it to the Ghana healthcare fund, which is the emergency fund that we are trying to set up, because that is also still a challenge in terms of funding. And the bill that is laid before Parliament argued that they want to take 30% of the NHIS money to be able to fund that, in which some people have argued that it's going to still make like you are capping the NHIS to fund something, even though they are all both the same health conditions. But I think that since this one was already existing, even though the business community complained, this is a health issue. And I think that if we had rather take that levy, if we had rather rename that levy and make it the emergency fund levy, that would have been much better than going to the NHIS to pick 30% to finance that. Even though it comes like a parallel document with that of the NHIS, but I still believe that we can integrate both of them and continue to maintain that 1% and use it for that particular fund. And even if we have to get something small from NHIS to support it, that can be for a perpetual fund, because it is a fund that will not go off. People will continue to have kidney conditions, people will continue to have cancer conditions, etc. So I believe that we should look at it again and see how best we can rename that particular levy and use that to finance the healthcare program that we are introducing. And that will be a better way to support the country.
Doc, sorry, but just a clarification. I'm sure you're talking about the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
So instead of scrapping the COVID-19 levy, let's rather use that levy to support that.
Okay.
All right, so let's hear your thoughts on the other stories. Sorry, I thought you were finished with that submission. But if you are, you can move on to the other stories that came from the Daily Graphic.
Now, the children working in marijuana farms is about a matter of culture and a matter of, let's say, I don't know whether it is due to poverty or due to what. Because even if you want children to work at any point in time at all on farms, it should not be a place where it is even prohibited for other group of people to use it. Marijuana is used for medicinal purposes. It is being put into medicine and other things for production. But people tend to abuse it when you smoke it as it is. And that has a health implication on you and even have a danger, because when you smoke that, you can have a serious impact on people. So we even allowing children to go and work in such farms is a violation of their fundamental human rights, especially if they are supposed to be in school. You are introducing them into a substance that they aren't aware of the bad and the good side of it. The good side of it is just to generate income for people and also for medicinal purposes. But the bad aspect of it is when they smoke it, the influence it has on society. So I think that as a matter of agency, the state must act on this. The relevant authorities that are required to look into child labor and other related activities must look into this matter and ensure that proper sanctions are being meted out to people who have involved themselves in this. So anybody found in that particular act must be arrested, the person must be charged, and the person must be made to compensate the children, and at the same time compensate the state for taking them to such farms to go and work. So I think that that's my candid opinion on it. We have to be strict for that, and that can help to resolve the problem. Now, on the matter of starting up, having a law to back existing projects started by a previous government, I think it's a very good call, because this would not have been a better time than now. In the past,
we are getting some interference in your sound, Doc. I'm not sure where it's come. Okay.
It's not my end. I think Pacqui.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the issue has to do with the state taking a very serious matter on it, because you see, you cannot start something, you have spent a lot of money on it, and at the end of the day, somebody else come and abandon it. Just look at the settlement housing project. When the previous government came into office, they abandoned the project. The project stood there and it was rusting. People were going there, removing the items, etc. I mean, it is not a good culture at all because it is the taxes of the people that have been used to finance those projects. Why will you leave the project to get rotten because you didn't start it? And because you don't want to complete it and the next government name is going to be on it. If you also look at the e-schools were left. Hospitals, ship compounds, they were all left for almost 8 years. That is not a good culture at all. So we have to begin to put in strategic measures to ensure that anybody at all who starts any project belongs to the people of Ghana. And for that matter, if you take over government, you need to take a stock of everything and make sure that you work on it. I like the call of the education minister for the GET fund to look at all projects being financed at the education sector, give him a report on the infrastructure projects so that they continue those projects. That is a very good call. I think that every sector minister in this country must take that leadership, that stock of, existing projects and ensure that all existing projects are completed. And that will be a good plus to the government. It will mean that the government is not wasteful. But the moment you allow it to lie down and rot, it means that you have joined the back wagon of the wasteful people. And the Ghanaians will show you when they go to the polls. So I think that the current government should look into that. Take a stock of all abandoned projects, value it, and tell Ghanaians that this was what was left behind. This is how much I need to continue it. Even if you come to the Ghanaian people and tell them that pay additional 1 Ghana cedi for me to use it to complete this project, they will be more than happy to do that. But the moment you then take a stock, you introduce additional taxes, and all those projects are lying down, and you come back to them and tell them that they should pay taxes. They will ask you that, what are you going to use the taxes for?
Okay.
This is why the people ask these questions. So let's begin to be responsible on these things.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure some Ghanaians will agree with you on that 1 cedi extra levy, but yeah, that's your opinion. So
I'm just giving an example.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, yeah, it's okay.
In the past, we have increased VAT from 12.5% to 15%. Did they explain to Ghanaians what they were going to use the money for?
Ah, well.
Absolutely no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So government can come at any point in time and slap you with taxes, and you have any qualms them to pay. But when the taxes are going to be used for something productive, the people will be willing to pay. That's what I'm just trying to say.
All right, thank you.
But I think I've always said that when people see that you're using the resources, for the right project, they're seeing good roads, they're seeing good schools. I think Ghanaians would automatically, pay the 1 Ghana cedi.
Yeah.
When they see the money,
we see the value for the money.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me speak to Dr. Baidu now. Doc, you are a development analyst, so I want to hear your expert opinion on this. From sugar factories to housing projects, we've seen so many abandoned projects because successive governments just can't complete them. I don't know if it's a matter of scoring political points or whatever. And so this is not the first time we are hearing for a call like this, that we should back these development plans with law. What would it take, in your experience or expertise, what is that catalyst that we need to actually make this, to materialize this big plan for Ghana?
Intentionality. Look, it is not by mere coincidence that Benjamin Franklin said that if you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. Planning is very essential for the development of any endeavor, any entity, being it at the household level, the community level, the national level, and any level that you can think of. Look, planning is not just about setting goals. It's not just about having a vision. In planning, within the planning framework itself, involve allocating resources, involve putting the right resources or the institutions in place, the people in place to execute the plan. It involves having control measures in ensuring that as you monitor the progress of the implementation, if there are any deviations, you correct them and then you put yourself back on that path of the vision that you have set yourself. And that is why, for me, any leader, any government who abandons a previous project in a way, you are just trying to tell all of us that you don't believe in planning. Look, your argument can even be that the initial project, initial intervention that was implemented by the previous government probably was not thought through or was not well planned. But it's important that you put the structures down so just to ensure that when that part is now created, any other person who comes in can just fill in or will just toe on that queue and then just follow the plan. This is the reason why the call to resource and to make the National Development Planning Commission relevant and one of the key institutions for this country cannot be argued in any way. Because then what it means is that whether it is NPP, whether it's NDC, let's put our visions that we have, what you think is so super that no other party can do. Let's put all of them in a document through the National Development Planning Commission. Let them have the plan for us. Then we can all drive our growth, we can all drive our development through the plan that will be set for us.
Well, Doc, I'm not cutting you, but you see, this debate or discussion about making the NDPC relevant was had not less than 10 years ago. I remember clearly when I was in Takrady, and during the time of Dr. Nimoy Thompson, when he was heading that particular organization, the argument was every political party has to develop its manifesto to tie into the development agenda of the country. You remember the 40-year development plan that was developed? That couldn't happen. And as we speak, we are still talking about that should be done. Really, when do we start? How do we start it? Who is to ensure that we get that done? Because if we don't do that, 10 years from today, we'll still be talking about the same thing. The NDPC will be there, but will be just ceremonial. Nothing really will be coming out of it.
This is the reason why you and I advocate think tanks. All of us need to add our voice and see, even if there's a need for us to have a compact that political parties can sign so that anytime there's a deviation, we will tell you that, hey, this is the agreement, you are deviating, so kindly come back. This is something that we all have. The position will always try to find a way to deal with it. But we have to do that.
Doc, I think we're having challenges with the feed from your end, so would have to. Okay, so I'm being told that you could, switch on your audio, just the audio for us. We'll be happy, so we can have, the clear sound that we want from your end, because you're making some cogent argument and we want to follow it well. Okay, so whilst we work on that, let's bring in Dr. Asasante.
No, I think he's had his turn already.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to actually, add one more story, Kojo, before we come to you.
Okay.
There's a story here on myjoyonline.com, and it says, dismissed Ghana Gas staff decry unfair treatment, accuse management of partisan bias. A bit of details here. Some former employees of Ghana Gas have expressed deep disappointment over what they describe as unjust and politically motivated dismissals by the company's management. And, quote, partisan politics with the state infrastructure by terminating their contracts while reportedly recruiting others into the same positions they previously had. So you're letting some people go, yet you're recruiting them. So on what basis are you letting these other people go? And this is a very interesting story. I want us to discuss this and understand what we can do as a nation to secure people's jobs so that when successive administration, governments come, you don't lose your job. I want to start with you, Dr. Kwame Asasante. So this is at Ghana Gas. I don't know if I said that already. They are laying off some people, some workers, and they're recruiting more people as we speak. The workers are saying that it is politically motivated. And according to the former staff, they received termination letters signed by the chief executive officer informing them that their services were no longer required, a move that they believe lacks justification, particularly as the companies continue to hire new people. Doc, what do you make of this? Okay, do I have Dr. Kwame Asasante on phone with me? Okay. Hopefully we fixed Dr. Abeidu's sound and we can go back to him. But while we do that, or while we check, we have Dr. Jabri Muhammad online with us. Doc, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Ghana Gas. And this is not the first time this year alone that we are seeing massive dismissals in government or state-owned enterprises and institutions. What do you make of it?
Well, Siti, I think that you remember before the December 7th election, and after the December 7th election, there was a pact that was signed between the political parties. And the argument was that after December 7th, you are not supposed to recruit anybody into most of these state institutions. But the previous government defied the order and recruited a lot of people into most of these institutions. You remember a few weeks ago, we discussed the issue of the Bank of Ghana, where a significant number of people were sacked, and later on they were brought back to the place.
Yeah.
You and I know very well that this is a very bad practice. If you agree with one another and later on you tend to deviate from that particular principle, you put a pressure on the incoming government because they equally have a group of people to fix. Let's be realistic about it.
From my understanding of this story, the employees who are, whose contracts are being terminated were employed as far back as 2020, no? So this is not one of those situations where they were, employed right, in the last days of the SWAL administration. They were there as far back as 2020.
Maybe
just giving you another angle of it, yeah.
In some organizations, it may not be permanent employment. It may be on contract basis. So if it is on contract basis and your time is up, and they tell you that we no longer need your services, you have no grounds to complain. All of us, me as a lecturer, I'm being recruited on contract basis. I was given a contract of 6 years. So if the 6 years elapses and the university don't see that I'm more productive as they may need, they can tell me that they no longer need my services and I have to pack off. Okay, so let's look into on what basis were they recruited. Were they recruited on contract basis?
No, they are permanent workers. They are permanent workers, yeah.
And a permanent worker is given a letter after work for almost 10 years that you are no longer needed. Then they have a case. They can take the case to court.
Okay.
And the court will deal with it. So if they are permanent workers, and unless, of course, they have some clauses in their letter that at any point in time, if the management feel that they no longer need your services, they can dismiss you or they can terminate your contract. And they have to give you a 6 months notice. It is stated in every letter that if they don't need you, they'll give you 6 months or 3 months notice, depending on the institution that you are working. So this is a matter of HR issues. Then I think that this should be handled properly. So let's look into what terms and conditions were they given.
Well, I mean, what's sad about this is the justification for the termination.
The vision, they will look into your contract and say that, okay, fine, your contract, some of the clauses says that if at any point in time we no longer need your services or whatever it is, we will give you a notice of termination. So it is about the vision of the new administration, whether the people align with their vision or not. If they don't align with their visions and are holding a managerial positions, and that managerial positions will interfere with the affairs of the new administration, they can invoke such a clause on you. So that is what they have done.
All right, thank you. I mean, if you look at a sample of the termination letter, which I think will be popping up on your screens in a bit, it says, we refer to our offer of employment letter dated so, and regrettably, we have to inform you that we no longer require your services in the capacity of Community Relations Officer in the Community Relations Department at the operational site Kumasi with immediate effect. For someone who's a permanent employee of an organization, I think this does not suffice. You need more than just my services are no longer needed. But I understand what you are saying, that there are means to seek redress. You can go to court if you think this is unfair and is politically motivated. Go to court. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's politically motivated, you can go to court and seek a redress.
All right.
And I think that the court would be the best place to resolve the problem. We cannot sit here to resolve it.
Okay.
The court will resolve the problem for you.
Okay.
You remember that, in 2017, there was a story about how the Chinese who had constructed the setup were leaving, and Ghanaian engineers were the ones handling it, and that Ghana, the company was going to employ some 1,500 people, and these people have been able to manage the entity till now. So really, you ask yourself, why the termination now?
Yeah. But I mean, so I think I sort of align with what he's saying, that there are ways to fight this. So go there, go to court, seek redress, and you'll be satisfied. Let me hear the thoughts of Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante on this as well. And then, Kojo, I'll come to your paper. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, how does this story sit with you?
I'm not seized with all the facts, but if what we have heard is anything to go by, then I believe that there is some level of opportunity for them to go to the court, as my colleague Jabri said, and seek redress, because there are rules governing this, that if you are going to be terminated, you'll be giving advance notice and the rest of them. And if that is what is in the condition of service, then there's a different story. But if what we are hearing on the face of it is anything to go by, then the people should not hesitate at all and head for court and seek redress. I think that is where the matter can be laid to rest. All
right, thank you. Dr. Abeidu, hopefully we have resolved your sound issue. You were going to talk, you were saying something about what it would take, the catalyst, to actually change the status quo in terms of successive administrations or governments abandoning projects. Let's hear the concluding parts of that submission and then your take on this matter.
I would do that.
It's still not working. All right, we'll come back to you later. Kojo, let's get into some papers from your staff.
Today, the people in Cape Coast don't want Dr. Abeidu to speak. Anyway, Doc, I hope that things are rectified from you and so we can hear you. But let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper.
Okay.
It says Supreme Court quashes 5-year Kevin Taylor arrest warrant. It's there with Kevin Taylor's picture. Nice-looking young man. Energy Ministry records 15.8 billion Ghana cedis irregularities, according to report. AG frees Kwabena Dufo. It comes with a picture of Dr. Kwabena Dufo and Dr. Dominica Yena. MPP boycotts Ablekuma North. MP swearing in. It comes with a photograph of the minority leader, Alexander Afenyomaki. What's that title he has? He has a title now.
Does he?
Sahene. Sahene Alexander Afenyomaki. Mahama cares bill passed amid minority opposition. And a bit of details of the AG Freeze Kwabena Dufo. It says the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominica Yene, has entered nolle prosequi in the trial of the founder of Unibank Ghana Limited, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, and 7 others for their role in the collapse of the bank. This, according to a statement issued by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Rimsai, followed a significant 60% recovery of the total amount lost through the actions of the accused persons. So we have AG freeing Dr. Kwabena Dufo, Supreme Court question 5-year Kevin Taylor arrest warrant, MPP boycotting Ablekuma North swearing in, Mahama case bill passed amid minority opposition, Energy Ministry records 15.8 billion irregularities. Dr. Asah-Asante, let's start with you. These are the issues. Your take.
I'll look at the 15.8 billion irregularities.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the government must pay attention to this sector very well, because you see, we don't have resources. The little that we have, it gets slipped through our fingers, and it's cause for worry that every time we're struggling, and the little resources that we have, and we use it in organizations, we are not able to manage them well, and we are not able to ensure value for money. This is no good news, and I think the earlier we took a decision on some of these things, the better will help us to address our financial problems. I will also move on to the boycott of the ceremony, of Madam Eurabra Oben. It is normal in Parliament that when a decision is being taken and you are not comfortable with, or it's not in sync with what you believe in or your party believe in, common sense demands that you leave the floor and let the process continue. Nobody will fault the minorities within their right to do so. And the good news is that the woman has been sworn in and Parliament is sitting. It's the beauty of all this. I respect both positions, but what I look forward to is that the woman, as has come to Parliament, must be able to work and work well, and so as to provide the needs of the people. The confidence that they propose in her, she should be able to deliver on that promise. Otherwise, the next election, the people will want to show her the door.
Okay. What about the AG freeing Kwabena Dufo, because he's been able to, the state has recovered 60% of the money. I mean, is that a good precedent to set?
I must say that I'm not seized with all the facts about these whole controversy about the bank and how it ended and all that. So I want to stay away from this. Normally, I want to have full facts so that when I speak with the bank. Okay.
I mean, the fact is that Dr. Dufo and 8 others were standing trial before a high court in Accra for the alleged, quote and unquote, dishonest spending of over 5.7 billion cedis belonging to customers and investors of the insolvent private bank, now defunct. Apart from Dr. Dufo, the former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama, who's now the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Kwabena Dufo II, Eko Nyako Dadze Dennis, Elsie Danswa Chire, Jeffrey Amon, Benjamin Ofori, and Kwajo Poku Oku were all on trial. They were facing a total of 68 charges, including fraudulent transactions and money laundering. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges and were granted bail. Unibank Ghana Limited, a private bank founded by Dr. Dufo, who once served as governor of the Bank of Ghana, was one of the insolvent financial institutions that was closed down by government during the banking sector cleanup exercise between 2017 and 2018. Does that suffice for you?
It's so difficult.
Okay.
This thing, in fact, ever since they started, I have not followed it.
Okay.
And the little in the news, I'm not sure will be enough for me to be able to digest it and articulate my position.
Right.
So
this one, I want to stay out.
So we can bring in Dr. Jabri. He is a business person. So, Doc, your point on this, do you think it is right that the state tries to recover some of these monies? Or, as people say, well, he should have been made to face the full trial. At the end of the day, the verdict that the court will deliver is what will matter to Ghanaians. Where do you stand on the two arguments? Dr. Jabir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yes.
Yeah, the argument says that the embezzle about 5.something billion Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
And that they have recovered 60% of it.
Sure.
Which means that we still have about 2.something billion outstanding that has not been recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And right now they are freed. It means that they are going on free. They are going away with 2 billion, which means that even not only 2 billion, if you should do the time value of money, the time that they misappropriated the money, the time that they paid the money, and now that they are going away with 2 billion, it means that it is a lot of money that they have gone away with, not just small money. As a finance person, if I want to quantify that, I would say it's even more than the 2 billion that we're talking about.
Okay.
So, as a matter of agency, maybe the court is not seeing any more merit in the case, and that the recovery that they have done perhaps might have been substantial enough to warrant them to go. But in my candid opinion, I still think that they could have done better. Maybe continue to try the case till the end of the case so that we know where the case actually lies. But the moment you acquit and discharge them, it means that they sin no more, and you cannot hold them any responsible at any point in time, unless somebody else come back and retake the case back to court to continue the case. Okay. But then I think that, you see, the banking crisis brought in a lot of challenges in our banking sector. And these challenges, up to now, is still living with us. You remember that the Bank of Ghana bailed them out. Some of the banks, struggling banks, after the 2015 asset quality review, some of the banks were actually supported with funding from Bank of Ghana to shore up their liquidity position. And if after some time, the liquidity that they show up, they could not find that money, they could not find customer deposits, and now here is a case, you are telling them that they should go and see no more. It means that anybody at all can also open a bank at any point in time, defraud clients, or do anything at all, and go scot-free. So I think that we should have handled this matter very, very well. And all other matters related to the banking crisis, I was thinking that this new government will have looked more into it and dig out more issues. Even the previous government itself spent a lot of money for the cleanup exercise. We end up not seeing any good effort that came out of it because we still have some of the financial institutions continue to struggle. So I was thinking that they would have launched a comprehensive analysis of that sector to see whatever at all the previous administration has done, to see whatever at all led to the collapse of most of these banks, so that we don't repeat the things that we had in the past. Okay. So, you know, this is a delicate issue because look at the caliber of people involved. The current governor and the likes of the four, my own friend, what they call ECHO and others, are all involved in this particular case. So it is a very dicey matter, which actually have to look at it properly. So if they are only acquitted and discharged on the basis of a merit of the case, then that holds. But if they are acquitted and discharged, and people still have the doubt as to why they were acquitted and discharged, to me, if I were to be them, I would have followed the due process to the end, so that at the end of the day, whatever verdict the court gives, then that would have been a better case to handle. Okay. I think that's my...
Okay. When you were speaking, I was just doing the calculation of the money. So they will still have around 2.28 billion that has to be paid out of the 5.7 billion that we're...
Yeah, so I was telling you that if you want to quantify time value of money, just look at the time that this incident happened. It happened somewhere 2018 or so, or 2017 thereabout. So up to now, we have had about, let's say, 6 years or so years. So even if you pick it at a value of risk-free interest rate at that time, let's say even 15%, quantify, just find the time value of money, 2.2 billion up to now, 7 years for 15%. You realize that this money will not be small money. Wow. If they had invested the money elsewhere, they will have been fabulously rich by now.
Yeah, I get it.
But is that a strategy that we should adopt going forward? And I can reference the ambulance saga, the controversy surrounding the money, whether or not. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you finish with your
I was wondering, should we be focusing on jailing these people who have plunged the state into some sort of financial loss, or should we be focused on recovering the money from them?
No, you see, it should be both. You recover the money, you punish the person. If you only recover and allow the person to go scot-free, people know that I can go and steal. Be more intentional, be more strategic in investment. Recoup my investment. When they come, I pick part of the money that I have stolen to repay back and still keep my investment. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Yeah. But if I know that if they come, one, they are going to take all the money, charge me interest on it, take all the interest and imprison me, will I have the incentive to steal?
Okay.
There is something in development economics, we call it, what do you call it? The economics of crime. In the economics of crime, if the marginal benefit is going to outweigh the marginal cost of stealing, you go and steal. But if the marginal cost is higher than the marginal benefit, you will not steal. If you go to Saudi Arabia and other places, the marginal benefit of stealing, the cost is very high. Because when you are caught, you can be killed.
Right.
So if you can be killed, will you want to go in still? So you realize that the marginal benefit is smaller as compared to the marginal cost. So you will not go in still. These are some of the measures we have to put in place.
Point made. Thank you. Kojo, should I get into my paper now?
No, I want to pick their thought on the Supreme Court question 5 year, Kevin Taylor arrest warrant. The Supreme Court yesterday set aside a 5.5-year-old warrant issued for the arrest of controversial social media commentator Kevin Taylor, who had said some derogatory things about a High Court judge in the judiciary. The court, in a 4-1 majority decision by a 5-member panel presided over by Justice Isifu Omaru Tanko Amadu, held that the warrant was issued without due process. I think we still have Dr. Jabri on the line. Do we still have Dr. Asante? Okay. Okay. Do we have Dr. Asante? Okay. So let's bring in Dr. Jabri. Doc, what do you make of this? I'm sure you followed it. Yesterday was one of the issues that were the talk of town. What do you make of this decision by the Supreme Court? After the High Court judge issued that bench warrant for the arrest of Kevin Taylor in 2020, who was then domiciled in the United States, the Supreme Court today says, well, the warrant was issued without due process.
You realize that Kevin Taylor has been on the wanted list for a very long time. And that is because he was so critical about the previous government way of handling things. So, and if you look at the case, people say he was not given a fair hearing. He was not even in the court to answer any question. And you issue a warrant against him because he has spoken against you. And for me, that isn't anything fair to the gentleman. He should have been given a fair hearing, and at the end of the day, if the court finds that he's guilty, then he can be given a warrant of arrest.
Okay.
If you look at the cases of others currently existing, they have noticed that they have a case by the special prosecutors and others, and they are given a notice of warrant of arrest. That is a different case altogether. Rather than someone from talking on social media and you said that the person has had a contempt of the court because the person said something against you. So you had a contempt of the court, and for that matter, such a person should be arrested and so forth. I believe that he should have given a fair hearing. I think those who argue on that case is of good essence. Just like me, I'm speaking here. Then you come and say that I have done something on contempt of court, and you have not asked me to come to the court to defend myself, and you issue a warrant for me to be arrested or something of that nature. Can you believe that? Does it connote freedom of speech and others? Even though Kevin Taylor said certain things that were not good, for me, it's not all the things that he said that were right. There were others he said that weren't right. That doesn't mean that he should not be given a fair hearing. He should be given a fair hearing, and if the appropriate sanctions are up to be given to him, then it should be given to him.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to try Dr. Abeidu one more time and see if we can get his thoughts on all these stories from Kojo's stack of papers. Dr. Abeidu.
Hi, sweetie. I hope you can hear me this time.
Loud and clear. Thank God. Okay, let's get into it.
Thank you. Right. So I'll just make a quick comment on Kevin Taylor's issue.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't have that acumen to talk so much about it. But for me, the ordinary Ghanaian public perceive this whole thing as part of the politics that we are doing. And for me, that is where we have a problem. We need to be careful, we need to be mindful, so that some of these trajectories, we don't set some precedent that tomorrow we cannot answer very well when it comes to fairness, justice, and all the issues that comes with our democratic dispensation. That's the only thing that I want to talk about that. But going back to the Ghana gas issue, the employment, the Ghana gas employees who were sacked.
Yeah.
Sweetie, look, some of these issues, I want us to look at them really from the underlying issues. What are the fundamental causes or the pull and push factors leading to these problems? Okay, so my question is, why Ghana gas and not, for example, Social Welfare Department? Why Ghana gas and not the other public sector institutions, Ghana Education Service or something? it tells you that there are some sugars, there are some honey out there with some of these state institutions. I mean, ask any average unemployed Ghanaian in Ghana, where do you want to work? And listen to the institution that they're going to mention. Okay? They will mention Ghana Water, they will mention ECG, they will mention Ghana Gas, and all the other institutions that you're talking about. What is there? So we need to understand these underlying issues. Look, the politician, before coming to power, has promised so many of, most of the young people that, help me. When I win, I can help you. I'll fix you into these institutions, the Ghana Gas and the rest. So there's this kind of social contract, which is already existing before they come to power. When they come, there's that compelling force to ensure that they also, do their part of the contract. And so they are compelled to put their people in there, even when the place is choked. And so they will have no option than now to look at those whom they think are not aligning to their political, inclination or whatsoever, and then push them out and then get their people in. This is where the problem is. So we need to go down to the entire public sector structures. What are the incentives out there that are not in the other institutions that is making people go to Ghana Gas and these institutions and not the others? These are the things we need to analyze and understand, so that if not, we'll go. People will be employed, they'll go to court, and what happens? We'll just be recycling this problem, and then the fundamental issues will still be there. All right.
Well, thank you. I wish we had more time to probe further, especially in terms of exactly what should have been contained in that sack letter, dismissal letter. That would have made sense to the employees. You don't just tell me that my services are no longer needed. What kind of, excuse my French, hogwash is that? Anyway, so just some headlines from this. I have a lot of papers here. We can't get into all of them, but I do want you to know what's trending out here. So on the news center, Ashanti NPP backs Coca to replace Wuntumi. ECG bleeds billions. We've talked about this already. 5.7 billion Ghana cedi case against Dr. Dumfor's son, others dropped. On the custodian newspaper, presidency acts on Anor Dompress call. Minority to meet Mahama July 24th over issues of great public concern. We all cannot wait to hear what these concerns are that the minority has. And NPP to pursue sweeping financial reform agenda. And on the, which other paper do I have here before we wrap up? The Accra Times has these stories. Unite for regional transformation. Mahama Yarega urges Northern MPs. Zaneto appointed to Pan-African Parliament. That's a very controversial story around that one between Madame Apieje and Minority Leader Afenyo Makin in terms of who was appointed or who was recommended to go to the Pan-African Parliament. She's written back to the Speaker saying that respectfully she cannot accept that assignment. And so the right person to go is Afenyo Makin. Anyway, so
if my boss is there, why send me the deputy to go?
Interesting days ahead, Kojo. Interesting days ahead. Do not allow NDC attacks to weaken NPP, according to Osahin Afenyo Makin. So these are some stories in the papers this morning. Pick a copy for yourself and get into them. Could you have some papers that you want to give us?
The Daily Gist, it says Dufour goes home with 5.7 billion Unibank cash. Kevin Taylor walks free after Supreme Court cautious arrest warrant. ECG blows 75 million Ghana cedis on Haftel without contract. Dubik Finger. Minority petitions Mahama for meeting on Thursday. So those are the stories.
Okay.
And again, one interview we did over the weekend. MPP Abanga indict. He did. But I'm sure they did this interview somewhere. But this guy spoke to us over the weekend. Says MPP Abanga indicts twin brother NDC Abanga in Galamsey deal. So MPP Abanga.
NDC Abanga. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. Dr. Pacqui Ejiafola Beidu is a development analyst. He joined us. Doc, thank you. Dr. Kwame Asasante is a political scientist and the head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He also joined us. And of course, Dr. Jabri Muhammad. He's a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. Gentlemen, have a good morning. Right, and that's our time for the news review segment. When we return from the break, we'll take you straight into our big stories. Please stay. thanks for your time here on the AM show. Earlier during our introduction, we told you we'll take you to Tema. And let's go there now, because the Tema Oil Refinery Enclave, where drivers are worried about the bad nature of roads there, has come under question again. That special report is what you're about to see now. Enjoy.
The road from the Tema Oil Refinery toll roundabout to Bong Junction is a 7.2-kilometer stretch that serves as a vital link for industries in the Tema area, including the Tema Oil Refinery, the country's prime petroleum refinery industry. It's a single carriageway that has experienced a significant deterioration due to heavy traffic, particularly from petroleum tankers, industrial trucks, and other heavy-duty vehicles from the Tema port. Here are some drivers lamenting the impact of the road on their daily activity.
And boy,
are you also a driver here?
Yes, please.
So how far with the road? How are you guys able to manage this?
The road is very, 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 very bad. It's very, very, very bad. We are tired because it spoils our tires, our painted things. Even from vacuum about to chase here, it's not good at all.
Oh, we are suffering on this road. Since I came into this road, we are suffering. If you look at the passengers, before we will get to the committee, everybody will turn to right. So long-term contractors have completed this gutter. So it's over to them to pour the asphalt on it so that we can also get peace. But they know they cannot. So we are suffering.
Some of the passengers also say because of the road, so you charge them high.
Oh, as for the charges, we have considered them a lot. If they themselves, they can give us what do you call it, testimony. We consider them a lot because this road, because right now if you are going to take car from somebody, he will tell you that don't send my car to Pong. Because if you take my car to Pong, I will collect the car from you. Or when there's a damage, don't call me. So as for the lorry fare there, we have reduced everything for them.
What message do you have for the government or the
office that I have for the government now is you should pay the contractor to come and put the asphalt on the road for you. We beg them. You should pay for the contractor. Because Nanado say you paid the contractor already, but you have not seen anything. So as he came, you should also pay the contractor so that the contractor will continue the road.
For how long have you been on this road?
Okay, for me, I'm working at 25.
Okay.
And then I carry somebody come here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what will you say about the road?
Oh, the road is too bad. And then we urge the district assembled to come and maintain the road for us, if possible. And then.
How is it affecting your business?
Oh, always when you pass here, always every 2 days we have to go for maintenance.
Every 2 days?
Yes.
You have to go for maintenance?
Yes. It's really affecting the motor. So that's what is happening to us. So we urge everyone who is responsible to come and maintain the road for us.
Tanker drivers who plied the road embarked on a strike action 2 years ago to attract government attention to rehabilitate the road, but one can see a more damaged road since the beginning of the year. The National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union describes the road as a very crucial link between industries and consumers. David Konedu speaks for the union.
We are pleading to the government to come and fix this road for us because it is important that our drivers drive safely because safety is our baby. And therefore, if our roads are not fixed and there is problem, all the time our cowards are blaming the drivers when something happens to their trucks. And therefore, complaints that we have been receiving all the time in our office is the drivers are not taking good care of the trucks. Therefore, it is because of the road that all these things are happening. Therefore, we are appealing to the government to come to our aid and fix the road for us.
Some tanker drivers also added their voice to get government attention on the road.
Yeah, it left small, good car, because I learned this company is here almost some years ago, so they're supposed to, do the road for them.
Anyway, I'm Philip. What I have to say is sometimes when it rains like this,
and you are about going some places, you need not to. You can't go because of the road. And sometimes when you are trying to force it, you remain. So you have to need any extra car to come and pull you from where you are. So we are only pleading
for another cost. Or?
Yes, please. Which is another cost. And sometimes our car got damaged, which the car owner has to question you, how come? So it's sometimes you find it very difficult to explain to the car owner, this is the reason why the car got spoiled. Because the car owner think for him or her is in the house. So he doesn't know the road is not good. So you have to explain to him or her that this is what is happening on the field. Sometimes when it's raining, we find it very difficult to go to places and load.
Since you brought in the car owner thing, is that not the reason why some of them are saying you, the drivers, you are part of the reason why the road is spoiling? Because the way you drive.
Yes, that's what they will say, because they don't know what we are facing on the field. You get me?
Tell us what you are facing. How is it?
We are facing so many challenges. Sometimes when you are going to places, a place that you can use, let's say 5-10 minutes to get to, you can use almost an hour, which you've not even getting to your destination, simply because the road is not good. So we find it very difficult. Sometimes you're waste. Also, when you're entering potholes like that, you fool somehow. So sometimes the cars are not on standard, but you have to manage it. Because of the road, you have to take time. And when you want to go over a speed, then everything's condemned.
So have you filed any reports to your officers, your big men, to, get the road fixed?
And I would not say we have, but I would only thank you guys being here today for us to express our feelings to you guys, so that if you can do anything about this for us, please.
All right, thank you very much. Big man. Yeah. Yes, so you two have been on the road, eh?
Yeah.
What is your name?
Please, my name is Raymond.
What can you say about the road?
About the road, I will just plead if they have something to do about the road. Because imagine the road is just a rough road. And after that, you just come for a load with this rough road. There's things that will be choking. There's a lot of things on the road. So that's just choking the tires. So it's all those things that cost. The tires and others has been spoiling. If you are going there, the machine will be vibrating. All this is things that making the machine to become loose. The car will become loose. So we are begging. And spoiling of the road that they say that drivers include in this. I beg, it's not drivers matter, because it will rain. And when it rains, you be going, you yourself, you want to control the car according to how you want it. But because the ground is is slippery. The place is slippery, so that the time that you want to control the car into some way, because of the slippery, you won't get it in that order. It will turn you to a different place. So talking about the road spoiling is not the drivers, but rather maybe rain caused it, or the rough, the way it is all those things that costing this. So we are begging if they can do something about the road for us.
But yeah. They said they have done it before, but just that it has spoiled again, and that's why they are putting the blame on your doorsteps.
Okay, that one too, it can be true, but sometimes it's, if we are to check, if they are to make the road, we can say that maybe they have to add a lot of things, but the things that they always have mostly is oil.
You think the quality is
the quality is not much. So it is always oil that make the place to be black, but not the quality of it. So sometimes it's just due to how they make the road that will make it becomes spoilerology very quickly.
So what message do you have for the president? What message do you have for the government on this particular road?
Okay, what I have to just tell the government or any union like that, if they are concerned about there are people that they are working with. So I am just pleading them, so they should have mercy, or is thinking about the people. If they go and couldn't come back, your marketing will not make fair. So if they care about this they should just have mercy and do all this things very in the nice way, so that we can go and come back. So the marketing will be going fast. So that's what I have to say.
The nature of the road is posing a potential health risk to commuters and workers at various factories and offices along the stretch from the toll roundabout. Attempt by stakeholders to protest in order to get the road fixed by the previous government was not fruitful.
From toll, I can say from toll traffic lights and over to the junction, to the route here is very, 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 very bad. So we are bleeding when the government can do something about it.
Have you done any complaint, or have you complained to the stakeholders?
Several times.
And what did they tell you?
They did tell me, and they say they are on it, the previous government. So up to date, we didn't see anything yet. As we are coming here, we can see that they just put gravel on the way. From there, we didn't see anything good.
Also. My boss, how does this affect you? First of all, tell me your name.
My name is Mudrika Abdul Karim.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're also a driver on this
road.
Yes, how does this road network situation affect you?
We get breakdowns, plenty breakdowns. Small time your balu, if rain like this, you know go feel small time you get breakdown right now. You know go feel enter the car under two. So the worry with power.
New government has come. We know he will take inventories what the predecessors left for them. Now we have our letter on the minister's table. We want the minister to call us so that at the end of the day we will put our grievances before him on the road. But yes, we haven't met him. Our grievances have been channeled to MPA too, but because MPA said they have not consulted their board, therefore they cannot take any action. So we are pleading to MPA and the road minister.
Hopefully, the appropriate authorities can heed their call and do something about it. Let's continue our big stories now. The Attorney General has entered a nolle prosequi in the high-profile case involving former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufo and 7 others who were facing charges related to the collapse of Unibank. Now, that decision, announced by the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Remsai, effectively discontinues the criminal proceedings. That is against the accused. A move the AG's office attributes the significant recovery of state funds. We want to delve into this matter right now on the AM show, and Samo Kojo Brace and I are here to steer the conversations. And we want to engage Justice Abdullahi. He joins us via Zoom for the diverse perspectives on this matter. Justice Abdullahi is a lawyer. And Justice, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. Kojo, what to you?
Justice, I'm sure you follow this particular matter about the fact that the AG says, well, because the state has been able to recover 60% of the funds, then the decision is we want to let them go. From the legal point of view, what do you make of this particular matter, and what does it serve for future happenings in such circumstances?
Thank you so much. So, as you rightly pointed out, the AG has entered nolle prosequi. The normal narrative will be that if you want to play mischief, you'd probably put it this way, that once there is 60% recovery of the amount lost of the state or alleged to have been mismanaged, it serves to encourage other future possible test cases to perpetuate itself, simply because the people within that space would find it more motivational and beneficial to steal so much, with the hope that they'll make away with about 40% of the amount allegedly inflicted on them as having been stolen. These are normal narratives that you may have from people who want to play mischief. But being close to this particular case, you would discover that the amount that is, was alleged to have been mismanaged was quite difficult to be deciphered by both sides. And so you would discover that both sides were in complete disagreement as to the exact figures that were in contention. Now, that is just one aspect of it. The second angle to this...
But why were they in disagreement when the funds came from the Bank of Ghana, which, of course, would have records?
Yes, but the accusation from the state is not necessarily the amount that the Bank of Ghana gave these banks. It stems from the amount that is alleged to have been mismanaged. And so the state is not really accusing these persons for having stolen money for their private benefit or anything. The state is accusing these persons for a number of things, but the essential part of it is the fact that monies have been mismanaged, not that monies have been stolen. And so it is not an issue where an individual has the benefit of these monies in his private coffers, where you simply just trace and recover it. These are monies that have been lost for obvious managerial perspective, either because you gave somebody a loan that you did not have adequate measures to protect the loan, secure the loan, or you undertook a particular project that were not properly accounted for. So these are completely different from your regular, everyday cases of stealing, where an individual has deliberately taken steps to enrich himself.
I asked the question because when the banking sector cleanup came, there were reports that were released by the Bank of Ghana into each company's actions upon which they've taken that decision. Some have to do with in borrowing, when sister companies of the same bank were borrowing without due process, when some loans were given to people without due process, and all of that led to a high non-performing loans in the companies. That's why the Bank of Ghana took that decision. So I'm saying, if the Bank of Ghana, or I'm asking, if the Bank of Ghana gave us that report, which meant that they had the records of how these monies were utilized, why are they now saying that they kind of disagree in terms of how much exactly was involved?
So it is not, first off, that narrative was a narrative that was painted across board. But individually, each party, or in fact, each given bank had a particular role that it played in this scheme of mismanagement.
Yes.
So if you go into the individuals, you discover that everybody's issue was relatively different from the other.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. That's basically what I was saying.
Good. So if you go specifically to the issues of Commando 4, they were relatively different from the issues involving
ASEAN.
ASEAN.
And same with Royal Bank. Different issues.
However, the narrative you just painted made, which is what the narrative we had in the past, it made it look like everybody else had done the same thing throughout the period. But that was not the issue.
No, what I painted was specifically, I don't want to quote, but I'm paraphrasing. In terms of Unibank, there were sister companies, according to a report that we read, sister companies had borrowed loans that didn't follow due process. They had advanced loans to individuals and companies that didn't follow due process, with Unibank specifically. That's why I want to understand, how can the two entities, BOG or government, and Unibank say we disagree on the exact amount when Bank of Ghana itself released that report in 2017 that we all read?
Absolutely. I do completely share in your sentiment. However, as I was saying, it gets to a point where you have to take that firm decision to move forward. We were confronted with this issue of making a determination as to whether to pursue these matters to its logical conclusion, with the possibility, let's all remember this, the fact that you're prosecuting a person is not in any way saying that you necessarily would win. And the interest of the state at this point is our money that has been lost as a result of these mismanagement that have been perpetrated by the banks involved. And so a decision had to be made. And that decision was a firm decision as to how to recover these monies. And if you remember, this government's position right from the day it was sworn in has been one thing, that all looted funds must be recovered. I think this is what has been guiding the AG. If you discover the AG's nomenclature since the Attorney General was sworn in, together with his deputy, their entire posture has been to recover all lost proceeds. From all the cases, from Dubois' cases to all the other cases that, high-profile cases that we've all been observing, at least within the media space. The narrative has been one, and that is to recover looted funds.
Sorry, Justice Abdullahi, I want to interject here. For me, I think that we shouldn't discuss this and give the impression that they have dropped all charges now. The nollie prosecutor, to the best of my understanding, means that they've discontinued now, but it means the case can be reopened. So what is the significance here? Because this happened during the NPP's administration, and they were the ones who said that these people, the accused persons had plunged the country into some financial loss, etc. They said they hadn't done any wrongdoing. Yesterday, I just want to quote here. He said He said that this does not in any way imply an absence of wrongdoing, nor a vindication of any conduct. It is a pragmatic step in line with the overarching national interest of recovering state resources. So where do we see the end of this case? Because at any point, successive administrations or governments could open this case again. So are we just waiting to take all the money and then let them go? Or how do we bring some finality? Because you said not necessarily to win, I just want to pick your thoughts on that.
Yes, it is accurate to put it that way, that when you enter a nolle prosequi, it is not a finality to an issue before a court of competent jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And the reason is very simple, because the matters involved have not been decided on its merit. And if a case has not been decided on its merit, what it means is that at any given time, should any new development occasion a reopening of the case, the court are allowed to go back into the matter. And if any wrongdoing is found and the person is convicted, that will be the end of the matter. Until then, at this point, everybody is sitting on a tenterhook because you are not completely cleared and neither are you completely free. So yes, even within the same government, we wake up tomorrow and the Attorney General discovers something new that is completely outside of what it has been privy to. The Attorney General can always go back, effect an arrest, put the matters before court again, and notwithstanding the agreement that had been reached, will still be able to proceed with the prosecution of the issues. So, yes, we are at this point. Now, the second part is that, not with regards to the nolle prosequi, the second part of the amount involved is that my understanding from my communications with the AG's office is that it is not abandoning all debts, that is, all debts owed the bank as we speak. And there are about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis that are still outstanding. And these monies are likely to be recovered with a new level of energy. Because over the years, we've discovered, we've seen that the officers in charge of these banks have not been doing what they need to do for us to get these monies back. And so everybody is really jittery because those who are owed the banks are not getting their money. Those that owe the banks who are not paying. And there's nothing that seems to be done about it. And we are talking about close to 1.2 billion, if not more. If you add that to the 600 million, we are heading to close to 2 billion Ghana cedis, which is such a significant sum that can change the entire narrative of this whole story.
You've been getting some briefing from the AG's office, so I want this clarification. Now, we're told that the 60% is out of 5.7 billion cedis, right?
Well, no, the 60%, I do not know. I do not have the exact figures out of which that is coming from.
Okay, all right. But again, if you read the statement, it says that the accused persons in the Republic versus Kwabena Dufo and 7 others case have met this recovery threshold. What do we have the right do we have the right to demand the evidence to indeed be satisfied that they've met it indeed, and so that is right for the government a decision for the government to take?
That is a legitimate question all of us as citizens who are interested in participating in our democracy should actually be doing. We should ask questions, we should seek clarity, we should seek evidence of these informations. And I think it is not out of place to demand that the AG, for instance, furnishes us with the 60% payment. But I'm aware that the 60% came from audited properties of the persons involved and not necessarily cash. And so to that extent, I think we can easily verify these facts and get accurate information on them.
But if audited properties what does it mean? That they will be sold for the proceeds to get to the state, or what exactly?
The state has a lot of uses for property. It could it could sell them. It could also make good use of it. We all are aware of the state lacking offices and other things, and I'm sure these are high-profile property worth this quantum clearly can do a lot of things for the state, either by way of sales or by way of occupation.
So do I get the understanding that the state has taken over these facilities?
To the extent that the agreement has been reached between the parties and the assessment of the property, their quality, their value have been done, I can say with all level of certainty that yes, the state is in the process of taking over legitimately and through the appropriate legal means anytime soon.
I mean, with all these, there's still some things that are unclear about exactly what went into this 60% and meeting this threshold in terms of the recovery. And so for those who argue, say that these people, Dr. Kwabena Dumfor and the others, have found favor in the eyes of the AG. Political favor, I don't know for sure. How would you counter that argument? Or how would you explain to them that this is strictly a legal process that has just panned out this way? Because you and I do not know exactly what went into that 60%. You're saying that some of these assets, we cannot confirm on air right now, but we are being told that they've met a certain threshold in terms of recovering the monies. Does it not smell like politics at play here? Partisan politics at play here?
So it is easy for mischief makers to play mischief with facts. But we witnessed the passage of the Plea Bargaining Act under the last regime. Now, that was clearly a legal document, an enactment that was put in place to serve as a roadmap in the event of these things happening. And a lot of discretion is given the prosecution's office, that is the Attorney General's office, to make determination of what they believe is right and appropriate for the state. They have that discretion solely imposed on them or granted them by the law. I mean, and so the amount of 60% could have been by the discretion of the Attorney General or any of the officers who is put in charge of this matter. So could it be as a result of negotiation? It is, remember, plea bargaining is a negotiation. So if you have a stronger bargaining power, depending on the circumstances, it could have been 70%, it could have been 80%, it could have been 100% recovery. But this is what was arrived at. And the amount arrived at, I'm sure, took into consideration all the circumstances, and all stakeholders played a role. I'm aware the BOG's office, the Ministry of Finance office, all of them played a role in arriving at this figure. And so it is not something that you could easily discount as having been influenced by something other than the interest of the state.
What do you say to those who say this could open the way, I mean, like people put it, the Pandora's box for people to engage in siphoning the state's money and then entering into an agreement with the state to say, okay, I'll pay 60% of it. After 8, after 10 years, someone was explaining earlier that if you do 15% per annum over the 8 years, that money will jump to a very huge amount. How do you respond to
this
is
what I was explaining earlier, that if you look at the specific circumstances of this case, it is different from your regular stealing cases. If it was a stealing case, I can assure you that knowing the AG and his deputy, there is no way they would have agreed to anything less than 100%. Absolutely no way. And there's no way they would have even settled on the 100% and simply asked the perpetrators to walk. Knowing the AG from the little that I know about him and his deputy, as for the deputy, I can say with all level of certainty that we come a long way. So I know him in and out. And but this is not one of such cases.
This is a conviction you have based on your knowledge of a person, not based on the facts of.
So let me finish with this respectfully. Okay. So my point is this. So because this is not one of your regular stealing cases, it is difficult to say that the monies have been stolen by these persons involved And so on the basis of that, you are recovering the full amount. As we all rightly pointed out earlier, we all agree that these monies were lost on us through bad managerial decisions that were made by the officers involved in these companies. And so necessarily, you can confirm that the monies did not go to their private pocket. It is a different case if these monies were stolen. But these monies went to people who probably did not deserve it. Those people, those third parties, you cannot just go around taking these money from them. If I came for a legitimate loan,
including their own companies.
If I came from a legitimate loan, right? I came for a legitimate loan as a private citizen. And your decisions led to my inability to pay the money. It is difficult for anyone to pin that on you and say that you are stealing that money, necessarily. It is not the same. But yes, you took bad decisions. I took the money. I didn't pay. It doesn't mean you had the money with you. And so to say that that person should pay all that money, legally, you may be right to do that. But reasonably, I think if you're exercising a discretion, you should be able to exercise it, taking all these factors into consideration and say that, okay, well, because you caused it, pay so much of it, and then we can let go of the rest. But if you had stolen it, I could easily say that, well, you stole it, you have even made profit out of it, you use it for your private benefit, and so you are paying 150%. That is a reasonable angle to take this argument from.
Are you saying that the actions of, well, now, should I say they acquitted, but then the defendants, would you say that there was no wrongdoing at all? Following the analogy and the arguments you're making, there was no wrongdoing. We were just victims of circumstance.
That would never be my argument.
Okay.
In fact, I was the one who even called for their prosecution in the first place.
Okay, so there was some wrongdoing.
So there were definitely some wrongdoing, which is why they are paying this amount of money. This is a lot, in fact, a huge penalty inflicted on them.
Okay, now we can back the wrongdoing with facts. But your conviction in terms of how satisfied you are with the outcome of this, I mean, the fallout from court, is that you know the AG as a person, and I'm uncomfortable with that. You're not backing it with the fact that perhaps this is what the law said and that is what they had done. You're saying that because of your knowledge of this person, they couldn't have done anything, you know, in contrary to what the provision of the law dictates.
Actually, that is not what I said. I said that.
You said you know the AG from your knowledge.
No, I'm not talking about that part of it. I'm saying that they followed the Plea Bargaining Act, did several consultations with the other stakeholders, and they all came to that conclusion that the 60% was a fair deal. This is what I said. So I wasn't relying on my personal knowledge of them. I was saying that on the basis of that, if the people had stolen the money, there's no way, knowing them, the AG and his deputy, they would have allowed them to go away with 60%. This is, so put it into perspective. And I mean, so that we don't take the angle out of it. I mean, the context really matters.
Okay. Now, I want to bring up, something the Daily Guide reported here. It says, the fact sheet presented at the beginning of the trial had indicated that Unibank went into official administration on March 20, 2018, and was placed in receivership on August 1, 2018. It said KPMG, the official administrator in course of its duties, discovered that about 5.7 billion cedis had become due from shareholders of Unibank as of March 2018, but no security nor proper credit arrangement were made for the payment of the amount, which remains unpaid. This one, the people they mention here are shareholders of the company. Can we still say that this wasn't deliberate, or people who had gotten access to the state's resources and they deliberately shared it among themselves? Help me understand what this means.
So remember, this was my position, that these decisions were faulty decisions. These decisions ought not to have happened. This is what I said a minute ago by giving you the example of how some of the decisions were made and why these persons are required to pay these huge sums of money as penalties. Deliberate or otherwise is something that you could only prove in court. It's not something that you can make a decision of through fiction or an imaginative angle. You have to prove this, that they were deliberate in doing that. However, the fact that the person is being prosecuted clearly tells you that the decisions were considered willful as far as the state is concerned. And if it was willful, then you have to suffer the penalty thereof.
Okay.
And the penalty, if you are able to pay, we should let you go, because that is the object of the whole thing, that the state must recover.
That is the basis of the Plea Bargaining Act. And the Plea Bargaining Act was not enacted by this government.
Okay.
You may question the discretion as exercised. You may feel uncomfortable with some of the bargainings that are reached. They are legitimate questions. I cannot fault you on that. But a decision has to be made.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
But just before we let you go, another legal issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you're a constitutional lawyer, so you do get as well. You help us understand what the law really says. The decision by the Supreme Court to quash that 5-year arrest warrant, people say the young man should have been picked up first to at least, in honor of that warrant that was issued 5 years ago, before the Supreme Court would take that decision it took. What's your thinking on that?
Right. When a warrant is issued, there are a lot of processes that go into putting it into effect.
Okay.
That process is largely determined by the court itself, and in fact, there are legal processes. So the court has a role to play. Whoever brought about that decision has a lot of role to play. If you do not invoke those processes, the police cannot of themselves go around arresting people simply because they have heard in the news that a warrant has been issued for their arrest. So you need to, once a warrant has been issued by a court, you need to follow the processes before you can arrest a person. If you don't do that, that person will be walking as a free man.
Okay, all right then. So you don't agree with people who say there was failure in due process on this decision by the Supreme Court?
I wouldn't call it agreement or disagreement, but I would first question what happened after the warrant was issued, the steps that were taken. If no step was taken, that warrant is as ineffective as the paper it was written on. But if you take steps to effect the warrant and you face bottlenecks, that is where we can then discuss these issues about whether or not there were merit or otherwise.
All right, grateful to you for joining. But just before I let you go, I mean, once we've had you, let's try and explore all of these issues. Another issue has to do with the National Cathedral, and I'd love to pick your thought on it. Now, this is a statement by the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference on... that's a different matter there.
I think this is on the suspension of the Chief Justice.
On the Chief Justice,
yes,
the Catholic Bishops. Okay, anyway, interesting. They says, we the Catholic Bishops have followed recent development in our beloved nation with profound concern. Our spiritual leaders, through democracy. And anyway, let me check this one here, because there's some vital point here we need to ask you on. It says, in the light of these grave concerns, we urge all stakeholders to act with utmost conscientiousness, safeguarding both the inviolable rule of law and the dignity of the judiciary. The recent National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving convened by His Excellency the President provided a welcome moment for spiritual and civic reflection. May this now inspire a deeper, sustained national commitment to unity, reconciliation, and lasting peace. I mean, when it comes to the removal of this the CJ, the Catholic Bishops' Conference are asking for due process to prevail. And I think this is something you will agree with them. What's your thought on this?
Indeed, I fully agree with them that at every point in time, due process must always prevail, at every point in time. But calling for due process to prevail would also, at this point, mean that they think or believe that there are some breaches of due process. If that is the thinking, then I beg to differ on that. I have, if you remember, right from the day these petitions were sent to the President's office to this point, I have been part of citizens participating in the entire discussions on this issue. And no single provision of the procedural rules have been impugned to have been wrongly invoked.
Okay.
Not by the CJ, not by even members of the MPP who were initially the spokespersons or pretending to be the spokespersons of the CJ, and other people who felt strongly that the CJ was not being treated fairly. Nobody till date has been able to point out what has been done wrong up to this point. And so on the basis of that, my position is that if a person believes that something has been done wrong, either against the Constitution or against any of the procedural rules that we have in this country, I think the right thing to do when you're calling for due process to prevail is to point out one that you think has been infringed on. Then we can have a constructive discussions and see how best we can all put our voices together and impress upon the state to act right. Until then, I have pointed out and I have called for this debate that whoever, from the bar association to the last cleaner in the streets of Ghana, that thinks that any provision in any of our procedures or constitution has been breached should point it out so we can have a debate on this. Once we have a debate and it turns out that indeed there is a breach, I think it to be appropriate for us to then insist that the president acts right.
Okay.
Until then, I think we have to leave this matter to rest.
Now,
Because
if you listen closely to what they wrote, they say, quote, a healthy, functioning democracy equally demands an independent, credible judiciary free from political interference. Justice is the indispensable cornerstone of national cohesion. Without it, grievances fester and violence finds fertile ground. It is in this critical regard that we view the current tensions arising from the suspension of the Chief Justice. While acknowledging the necessity of due process, we caution strenuously against any action, perceived or actual, that could compromise the independence or impartiality of the judiciary. The removal of a sitting Chief Justice is a matter of profound national significance. The process must be scrupulously guided by constitutional principles, absolute procedural fairness, and a clear respect for the doctrine of the separation of powers. Any precedent that appears to place the judiciary at the mercy of the executive risks irreparable eroding public trust in the very institutions citizens rely upon for justice. Aren't they cautioning that if we could, maybe we take steps a little backward in this?
Well, I am not close with authority to interpret what they say, but the meaning I glean from what they are saying is a legitimate one, which I completely agree with. I completely agree with everything they've said generally. But as I indicated earlier, is it in any way insinuating that some wrongdoing has been occasioned simply by the suspension of the CJ? That answer must be provided. Once we get a firm response on that question, then we can have some form of impartial discussions and then see how best we can all move forward on this.
When you hear the subtle undertones about the desire for the removal of the EC chairperson, the Catholic archbishops are saying that if you set a precedent that puts the judiciary at the mercy of the politician, it risks some, eroding of public trust. If you look at what is happening to the EC, won't we have the same if the CJ ends up being removed? And that's the cry of the bishops.
Yes. So my answer to that is a very simple one. Very simple. Are we saying that we should allow a rotten constitutional body or officers of constitutional bodies to persist in office simply because we need to protect the sanctity of that office when there are evidence of wrongdoings occasioned by them? Is that the argument? I do not think that's what they are saying.
Okay.
Now, if that's not what they are saying, and there's a legitimate petition for the misconduct of a person occupying that office, do we let go of that just to protect the independence of that institution? Okay. I do not think that is also an argument that any of these persons, stakeholders, are making.
Okay.
Now, if these are not the arguments, then I think that we are just throwing caution to the wind, because really, until you are able to point out that something else has been done wrongly. If a person does something, even to the office of the president, if the president is seen to have misconducted himself against the constitution, would we say that simply because we need a cohesive country, a robust nation, a united front, we should allow the president to remain in office when he has done wrong, that occasions his removal?
Okay.
That can never be an argument to be made by any constitutional body. In fact, that would be legitimizing all kinds of wrongdoing, which would rather go against the very fiber that this nation is built on. We cannot condone that.
Okay.
It is agreeable to say that we should protect all these constitutional bodies, and particularly against the executive, because the executive is overbearing. I agree. But that argument cannot supplant the position of the law when you say that a wrongdoing has been occasioned by an officer occupying any of these constitutional bodies. And because we need to protect their independence and sanctity, we should just let go of that wrongdoing. That can never be.
Okay.
So let's be focused in these discussions. Let's find out if any wrongdoings have been made by any party in this whole procedure. Let's bring it out, discuss it thoroughly, and point out the wrongs, and then recommend a possible remedies to the appropriate officers. Okay. That should be the way to go. But to be subtly making these comments as if something has been done wrong, but it is right, and then it's wrong, but it's not okay, I do not think it helps with the discussions. It doesn't help in any way.
But, I mean, just as we don't have time and we have to go, but in terms of whether or not something has been done wrong, when you listen to the Chief Justice in her presses and everything else she's brought to the, to the fore in terms of media, she said that her human rights are being infringed on. She doesn't know exactly what she's being accused of, which is why she's escalated the matter to, the ECOWAS courts, etc. So, I mean, I'm just hearing you say that they should expatiate exactly what has been done wrong, but we've listened to the person in question who've told us exactly what they're doing to her that is wrong, no? So we do know to an extent what will qualify as wrongdoing from her side, correct?
That is an argument you're making, but let me put it this way. If the CJ says that her human rights have been abused, what part of, how did that happen? Simply because, her answer to this question is that she doesn't know what she has done wrong. But did we not witness the CJ writing to the president, ordering the president within 7 days to give her the information? Weren't you in this country? And the president did so by giving her even more than the required days that she wanted.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's our time, Justice Abdullahi. Thank you. Did
she not respond to that? No. So you cannot ask me after you have given... ask this
go ahead. I'll allow it. Go ahead.
So after she has been given this information, she responded to that. And that formed the basis for the Council of State's decision. Now, following from that, a committee was set up. The committee is sitting on it. So please, point out which part of the accusation or human rights that has been abused, allegedly, in relation to she not knowing what she has been accused of.
Lawyer, then from what we know, in the case of Charlotte Osei, the then Chief Justice, the name has escaped me a little, but when she provided her responses in the petition, she said Charlotte Osei was able to justify, I think it was about 2 points. The other 2 points was where Sophia Akufo, good. The other 2 points was what Charlotte Osei could not satisfactorily defend herself on, and that's what the committee was set up to then go into. 2 points. Absolutely. But this one, the CJ is saying that I don't know which of the issues and for which my responses were provided that were not satisfactory enough that I'm being taken through this process. Not fair for her to be asking those questions.
It is fair to ask, but does it amount to a breach of your human right?
Well, loss of natural justice. You should know exactly what you're being accused of so you can respond to that.
No, you have been allowed to respond to all.
Yeah.
Default position is that if you are being prosecuted for all of it, clearly means that your explanation was clearly not enough to exonerate you.
What about the emotional torture?
I don't know whether this should be an issue of quantum mathematics.
No, but isn't it fair? Isn't it fair? Isn't it fair that it is communicated to her?
Informed of which of the 5 that you are being prosecuted for, right?
Yeah.
Does it not reason that all the 5, I mean, you're standing trial for all the 5.
Okay. Okay.
Well, thank you. No, Justice, seriously, we have to have another time and get into this proper. Thank you so much. He's a senior lecturer at UPSA Faculty of Law, Justice Abdoulaye. Thank you. Good sport. Right. So before we pop off, I do want to bring to your attention that the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, the second clinic comes off from the 25th to 27th of July 2025 at Tema EcoBank head office. And you want to make your dream home a reality? Then EcoBank says step into your ideal home or transform your current space into one that truly reflects your style and comfort, all with the support from EcoBank. EcoBank has once again partnered with Joy News to bring you an exciting experience at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. This year's edition makes your journey to a comfortable, modern home even more accessible and affordable. With EcoBank's Buy Now, Pay Later, you can easily renovate, upgrade, or furnish your home to suit your taste and lifestyle. Whether it's elegant home decor, modern furniture, essential electronics like laptops and phones, or solar energy solutions, EcoBank has the right financing tailored for your lifestyle. From staying connected with the latest devices to embracing sustainable living, our flexible consumer loans, asset finance, and salary advance products are all designed to help you bring your vision to life. Enjoy competitive interest rates, convenient repayment terms, and fast approval from a bank that truly understands your needs. Visit our stand and take your first step toward the home and lifestyle you deserve. Comfortable home starts with EcoBank. Be part of it. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Well, are you looking to do things differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Look, according to statistics that we've seen, it shows that it's tough out here for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. And I know you know that. So you need to be different so that you can be approached by the right entities. Now, doing things differently is what the Design and Technology Institute, DTI, is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication to design innovation, which involves graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, amongst others, and entrepreneurship. Their programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson BTech, and CityVet, so you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere around the world. So if you are ready to do things differently and chart your own path, then check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions or call 0541693534 for more information. Now, Finance Minister, I know it's okay, so we don't have time for us to bring you
AM Business. Yeah, today's a Wednesday, and so we want to bring you AM Business. Like we said, we'll bring you this morning. So, this morning, Finance Minister Dr. Kessel Atto-Forson will present, not today, I'm just saying for today's AM Business, Finance Minister will present the 2025 mid-year budget review to Parliament tomorrow. That's Thursday, July 24th. Ahead of that, Joy Business's James Ishen gauges the mood of the business community. Here's what he found.
Finance Minister Dr. Atto-Forson is expected to present the mid-year budget to Parliament on the 24th of this month. And I mean, civil society have been raising some questions. We've seen inflation being reduced drastically to 13.7%, but there are some concerns these civil societies are pushing government to find lasting solutions to. Now, speaking to the coordinator of the economic governance platform, he's been speaking to the fact that government needs to do more to ensure that food inflation is being cut down, even though we see the general inflation being stand at some 13.7%.
Our general observation, as many can attest to it, is that the macroeconomic environment is improving. We've seen inflation declining. We've also observed that the exchange rate has stabilized, the cedi has strengthened considerably. So it makes our imports much cheaper, but of course it also has its side effect of affecting our export, making our export more expensive. So we are asking government to lay down some more sustainable strategies that will consolidate the gains that we have made. But particularly, I want to focus on the issue of inflation. I mean, even though headline inflation has declined, if you dig deep down further, you realize that food inflation is still up there. And for that matter, many people are still feeling the pinch of the economic, what they call distress that we have come, that we are coming out of. So, and given the fact that majority of Ghanaians spend about 40% of their income on food, I think it is something that the government needs to pay attention so that our investments in agriculture will yield the necessary results and ease the difficulty of the citizenry. Then we will also want to talk about the levy, that's the 1 cedi on the litre that the government has introduced. We realize that there's no sunset clause. We don't have any specific timeline that the government intends to do this. If you look in our history, it has become the easiest, and I must say the laziest way by which government always tries to raise revenue to address energy sector inefficiencies. We've had the experience of President Kufuor's regime where we started paying the toll recovery levy, and we are still paying it till today. Under the previous, John Mahama administration, they introduced the ESLA levy that we have been paying. We thought it was going to be short-lived, but we are still paying it. So now that we are having another levy, we need to have clarity on the timelines. How long is this levy going to be there? So that it does not become a permanent feature when it comes to the price of fuel that we buy in this country. Because you know, when fuel prices increase, it affects a lot of goods and services, and so we want to have some ease in that direction. So you will appreciate the fact that in terms of Feed Ghana, it is in its very initial stages. It is now that government, the program has started, cultivation is underway, and so we don't expect that the food prices would have reduced immediately. What we expect is that for the kind of food that we import, because Ghana imports a lot of food as well, and when the exchange rate has the cedi has strengthened and it has stabilized to that extent, you expect that the imported food prices will come down and it will ease the pressure on consumers. So we want to see some visible reduction in the cost of food. For that matter.
Now, within the petroleum sector, policy lead at the African Center for Energy Policy, Kojo Yaoche, has also been speaking to the fact that there is a need to repeal the MIF Act and replace it with the Mineral Management Revenue Act.
Yeah, so the 2025 budget did indicate that we were going to amend the MIF Act to reallocate 80% of mineral royalties to the consolidated fund for infrastructure expenditure, which we have been fighting for that MIF shouldn't exist. So the point we were making was that the MIF Act should be repealed, right, so that MIF will cease to exist. But in place of that, we are asking for a Mineral Revenue Management Act, just like we have in the petroleum side, to provide some transparency and accountability guidelines on how mineral revenues are expended in the country, so that we are able to track what is happening with the revenues that accrue to the state for mining operations in the country. I think in the petroleum sector, the 2025 budget did indicate that the ABFA was going to be used for infrastructure development. And the PRMA was amended to that effect. But we are yet to see the infrastructure projects that have been earmarked for such expenditure. And the PRMA actually requires that all those expenditures have to be reported on. So the fact that it has gone into the consolidated fund doesn't mean that it shouldn't. So we are expecting more clarity on the sets of expenditures, the specific expenditures that the LBFA is going to be expended on. we also note that the amendment of the PRMA to allow the ABFA to be used for infrastructure expenditure inadvertently excluded funding for the activities of PIAC, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee. So we are asking that we bring it back. We further amend the PRMA to bring it back, because the amendment also did make allocation for 5% to the District Assembly's Common Fund. So if we are able to do that, we can do a similar thing for PIAC to be able to get funding, assured funding from that as well. We've had also a lot of conversations about a second gas processing facility to complement what we have at Atuabo. And in the 2025 budget, that didn't find expression, but we are hoping that that would come for government to clearly indicate what the financing arrangements are for the plant, and also to give us an indication of what the committee, because there was a committee that was set up to advise government, what the committee proposed and what government has accepted as the way forward.
Budget Ghana, another civil society organization, is asking the Bank of Ghana to reduce the policy rate, which currently stands at 28%, to some 200 basis points. According to them, current inflation stands at 13.7%, hence the need for the Bank of Ghana to consider reducing policy rates.
Far so good. Government has made some, there's been some improvements along, the fiscal lines. Inflation is hanging around 13.7% right now, which is actually a fall from at the end of the 2024 fiscal year, inflation was hanging around 23%, but currently, as at the end of June 2025, inflation was estimated at 13.7%. So at 13.7%, we see that that's an improvement. However, this reduction in inflation has not reflected in monetary policy rate. Monetary policy rate still remains very high. I think it's around 28%, if I'm not mistaken, and that's a problem. If your monetary policy rate is not reflecting a drop in inflation, then we see that there is an issue over there. Yes. So personally, I'll call for government to, bring in more reforms that can actually tackle this issue. Furthermore, we are looking at issue around cost of goods and services. Even following the reduction in inflation, cost of goods and services still remain high. What the reduction in inflation has resulted in is a slowdown in the increment of prices.
These civil society organizations are asking government to ensure some transparency with respect to its policy, like the Big Push and also Feed Ghana, to ensure that various sectors or problems within these sectors are being addressed keenly. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
All right, welcome back to the AM show. Let's do much more here and talk about, how you can commute from your house to your office, from your office to wherever, and how some people are making it very easy. Do you know that some people spend a lot on TNT alone without owning their cars? Now, there's an advantage for you to own one. And I have with me in the studio the CEO of Drive EVGH, Ashi Galloway, Galloway. Galloway, okay.
Yes. Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning to your viewers.
I said the Ashi, the Galloway. Is it Ghanaian?
I'm a Gabboy. I'm
a
a
Gabboy
from Asnei Junction.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Man.
Wow. That's the Galloway is a Ghana name.
It's actually a Scottish name, but...
Who are you?
I'm a Gabboy from Asnei Junction. Grew up in Kokomemle, lived in Ghana all my life. So, yeah. 100% Ghanaian.
Ah.
Yeah, my mom is Nigerian, but
you have Scottishly.
Somehow, somewhere from back then.
Back then.
Yeah.
Wow. You have to go for your Scottish citizenship then. Anyway, tell us about Drive EVGH. I mean, including what makes your brand stand out.
So Drive EVGH is an electric vehicle dealership. In the past few years, we've established ourselves as the front runners for EV cars in Ghana.
Okay.
We are able to sell, maintain, manage, and help customers with owning their own EVs. We do fleet management. But with Drive EV, we've also succeeded in not just having a dealership for cars. We've also have a solar company that's able to provide solar for your EV cars.
Okay.
Or for your homes, making your price points for EVs even lower than expected. We also have a charge infrastructure because we're planting chargers all over the country to see how best we can enable the space grow as fast as it should grow.
Wow. So you have charging spaces in which regions now?
We currently have just in Accra. We have 4 stations in Accra. We have one in our showroom in East Airport, or Bema Hills as they call it. We have one on the Spintex bypass, one in East Legon District 24, and on Olusegun Obasanjo Highway in Jowolu. We currently received some chargers last night, so we'll be installing more chargers.
Oh, okay.
Sometime soon. So we're expanding the network. We're hoping to grow it so that it will be everywhere. We've got a deal to put one in Kumasi.
Okay.
We're also going to be putting one on the Kumasi Highway and follow up with Accra Cape Coast, Accra to Accra Day. We're growing.
Okay.
Slowly but surely.
Wow. So it means that if I have an EV vehicle which was not even supplied by you, I can come by your charging point to charge at a fee.
It's a public charge station. The beautiful thing about it is all app generated, like self-service. There's nobody manning it. You go there, you park your car, you have our app, you download, you make your payment via your app. It's all 2025 stuff. Very modern, very techy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 24-hour then.
It's a 24-hour service.
Okay.
So we're leading from the front with the 24-hour economy.
Okay. Once that is done and it falls in line with the government's 24-hour policy, has there been any engagement with government? Are there any plans in place to aid EV dealership in Ghana?
Drive EV, personally, we're talking with government in various aspects on how we can help with sustainability generally, not just EVs. And you know, with this government, they have the green transition agenda, which falls well in line with what we're doing. So we're having conversations to see how best we can aid government achieve this goal with our ESGs, and also not just government, companies and all. So yeah, the conversation is ongoing. We've also formed an advocacy group as EV dealers who are communicating with government to see what kind of benefits we can get to be able to push the adoption of EVs in GH.
Okay, now in all of that, this is a brilliant idea. In anything we do as people, we face challenges.
Of course.
What are your challenges?
So when we started the company, what we were striving for was to push adoption of EVs, not just me being able to sell EVs, but just generally get people to see the good side of EVs. So that is what we've done a lot of work with. So in the beginning, it was quite difficult because people could not understand what the benefits are, or change the mindset from internal combustion engines, or ICE cars as we call them, to electric. But the beautiful thing about it is that when I drive around Accra now, I see a lot of EV companies coming up. I see a lot of EVs being driven around, which makes me very happy because I feel I've achieved one of the goals that we have. But that was our biggest challenge, trying to get people to see it. And I think we're turning that window. The next thing is financing.
Exactly. I was going to come there.
EVs are a bit pricey. Duty components on EV, unfortunately, in Ghana are higher than almost anywhere in the world. So that's something we're talking to government to say, guys, look at this. Everywhere else in the world, there are incentives to get people to be greener, to participate in this less carbon emissions and stuff like that. But unfortunately, in Ghana, it's the reverse. So that's what we're advocating, and that's our biggest challenge, because the cars are getting too expensive. Because you see a small EV, and we're paying duty higher than even a big normal car, and it doesn't add up. So that's our biggest challenge. And once that can be addressed, I can tell you, EVs will take over. Yeah.
How is it going with government? Because government has added energy transition to the name of the energy ministry, which means that they take this quite seriously. So how's the negotiations going with them?
Honorable John Jinapor is making all the right moves. He's saying the right things, he's doing the right things. We're communicating with him. With government, they just came into power, so it takes a while. So we just keep hoping and keep pushing, and hopefully we'll turn that corner.
Well, a lot of us in Ghana will find it difficult in paying real cash, buying for a car. So what are plans for us?
Okay. Credit is expensive, but luckily for us as Drive EVGH, what we've been able to do, we've been able to secure support from finance houses to help Ghanaians buy the cars under a hire purchase program, and then they pay over time. So your main sponsor for the Eco Habitat Fair, EcoBank, is one of our main finance houses, where they are even able to give people cars at 15% interest for a period of 5 years. So that's how we've been able to help, by getting deals with these major banks where they can help people finance their cars, so making it cheaper and affordable.
But once you say EcoBank, and I guess the target is salaried workers, right?
Yes, per se, because a bank has to take care of its balance, because you need to make sure that your loans are secured. So all the banks we work with, they definitely will make sure that whoever they're giving the car to can actually afford the car. So you can't just dole out cars to people without being able to.
What about, individual companies, business owners, and ride-hailing companies?
So some of the ride-hailing companies are doing their own thing. We are actually designing something. I'm not talking much about that. That will be mind-blowing, and hopefully that will come to play sometime soon.
Okay.
But yeah, there are companies that can do it. But for us as a company and what we're trying to build at this time, it's impossible for us to do that. But something good is coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something good. We can't wait for it. Now, in terms of collaborations and partnerships, what do you think, or which partnerships and collaborations do you think can help drive EV in Ghana?
So if we really need to make a dent on our carbon emissions, what we need is the corporates. The corporates need to sign up to using electric mobility. They need to sign up to use solar systems. When they do that with us, they're able to bring down their to make up their ESG goals quickly and easily. And then they can save a lot of money. Cost of running an EV is about 70% less than ICE cars. So we need associations with the companies. Let's manage their fleets for them. Let's give them charge infrastructure. Let's save them a lot of money, whilst we help them achieve their ESG goals. That's my main mantra now, what I need to work with.
How many corporate organizations really pursue their ESG goals that vigorously, that will make them say, okay, let's come to you.
But we have to do this for ourselves, we have to do it for our children's children, we have to do it for the future of the world, not just the future of Ghana. So we need to take the carbons out of the air, and that is why electric mobility is making waves in other countries and other parts of the world. So it's about time we start doing that. And the corporate guys have the ability to do it, and they can make that dent, and they can make that difference. So Drive EVGH is open for the corporate companies, for the government institutions, the big clients. Let them come in and let's see what we can do for them. Because we know we can make a difference, not only on ESGs, but also on their finances.
Okay.
We can save them a whole lot of money, and that is what we are built on.
Okay. How can people connect with you even after the show?
So you can find us on social media. We are there on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, just as Drive EVGH. That's one of the easiest ways to find us. We also have a website, www.driveevgh.com. You can get us on there, or you can call us on 054-047-4787 or 055-413-6410. We're always here to help you.
So you connect with Drive EVGH, and I'm sure that you can own that beautiful car of yours. Of course, it's electronic, right? So you didn't have to spend much more on fueling. You just have to charge and you're good to go. Thank you so much for coming through.
My pleasure, as always.
The Ghana one with the English name. Galloway there. He's the CEO of Drive EVGH. Thanks for coming. Let's now turn our attention to talk about the Ghana Medical Association. They have their annual public lecture coming up shortly, and we want to have a conversation on this what must we even expect on this, and all that we can do in terms of what we need to drive, what we should expect from this particular annual public lecture that is coming up this year. We understand they are focusing on a very important topic that all of us will be interested in. So let's go on Zoom now and have this particular chat here. One of them is the person joining us is an organizing team member of the public lecture today. Okay, so we have Dr. Richard Selome, he's General Secretary, Ghana Medical Association. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, so what's the focus of this public lecture?
Well, good morning to your listeners. The Ghana Medical Association every year selects a relevant topic that is pressing in the scheme of health or even beyond in some instances. This year, the association has chosen to focus on matters of aging. And that is why this year's program is themed as Ghana's aging population, the challenges, opportunities, and strategies for the next decade.
This theme in the first place?
Well, you would notice that aside some few discussions here and there, and some instances where, for example, we hear in the news that some people have been branded as witches, like we hear in the Gambaga camp, and even recently where in a school in one of the suburbs, some people were publicly shamed as being witches. We don't see a focused, deliberate discussion and policy actions that seek to address the matters of aging and the aged in the country. We realize that as population gets healthier, we are getting a lot more people growing older and living longer. And so because of that, our population of the aged or advanced people advanced in age is growing. This comes with different demands compared to we, the younger ones, or even the children. For example, they have limitations in their mobility. It is around this time that they are retired, for example, and their incomes are reduced. And it is at the same time that when their incomes are reduced, that they actually require a lot more money to take care of some of the conditions that bedevil them. Beyond that is the social stigmatization and other issues. And so we deemed it necessary that it's important to mainstream these issues, to discuss what are some of these key issues that are affecting this population, and where we can look at mitigating strategies and then make policy proposals to government and other key stakeholders to take certain interventions, put some interventions in place to make aging a little less burdensome, more dignified, and even more healthier, so that they can even contribute more to the economy, even in their old age. I'm sure you also realize that there are discussions to even increase the pension age. All this requires healthy adults, people thinking right, and policies in place to make sure these people can still contribute even as we advance in age and as the population increases in age. Yes.
I mean, usually when we have seminars like this, people say, okay, we're just going to talk, but what is being done to ensure that at the end of the day, the lessons or the policy initiatives that will be suggested there will actually find its way into the government's policy in driving how the health sector should be focusing on? What's the plan?
So if you have observed what Ghana Medical Association does, we don't like engaging in just talk shops that go nowhere. And so if you have followed our public lectures over the years, last year was a strong advocacy for uncapping. We considered health financing, and we made a strong case for the decapping of the national health insurance, and we have seen it pass.
Okay.
We have held various fora on various things like postgraduate education in the country, and that led to the establishment of the Ghana College. The NHI itself was birthed out of a strong advocacy in 2000 and between the early 2000s to ensure that government made that happen. And so Ghana Medical Association does not just finish these workshops and leave it there.
Okay.
Beyond the workshop is a position paper that we developed to share with key stakeholders, the Ministry of Health itself, government, as well as its agencies and other partners, including our donor partners, so that that becomes an area where they focus funding and they focus efforts on.
Okay.
We ourselves also engage in further advocacy on this till the end of the year, once we finish the public lecture. And so this is something we are going to follow through and ensure that resources are committed. Let me just say that this is not a simple matter of just committing resources and others, but it also requires training of people. For example, training of geriatricians, specialized nurses, making sure certain drugs that these people require are available in the country, making changes to buildings to ensure mobility and also accessibility, etc. And that is why we are looking at a varied array of people. And also including the people themselves on the panels and discussions to share their lived experiences.
Dr. Richard Salome, I'm grateful to you this morning for your time.
Thank you so much. And Multimedia have been key partners in this, and I want to say thank you to Multimedia for partnering us. And it will be shared live on our various social media platforms, Ghana Medical Association on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and also multimedia platforms. And let me also say thank you to Roche Products Ghana Limited for also helping sponsor this event.
I'm grateful to
you.
you.
So I encourage your listeners to join in.
Dr. Richard Salome.
Encourage their families to also join in.
Okay, we're grateful to you. He is the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. This is the AM show. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please don't go away.
Many thanks for your time on the AM show. Time now for us to engage one of our sponsors for the EcoBank Join Its Habitat Fair for 2025. I have in studio with me the CEO of the Builders Market. We have Mr. Isaac Asare Bedu in the studio. And you were just saying business is what?
I said business is all about doing things right and improving on what you do.
I like that.
And that will sustain you in business.
I like the part about improving. Yeah. And so let's talk about Builders Markets. I know that it's an online platform, one-stop shop for everything in terms of building. Let me not take the wind out of your sail. You introduce us to Builders Market.
Right.
I'm waxing lyrical because we've encountered you on the EcoBank Join Its Habitat Fair before. So let's talk about it.
Right. Builders Market has been in existence since 1990. And it started very small, and we grew it with time. We are into sanitary wares and bathroom items, and there's a difference between people normally don't get certain things right. Like somebody would talk about plumbing. It comes in its fittings. Then it also comes in its fixtures. So we do the fixtures. So you're talking about the bath that you find in there, the basin that you find in the bath, the faucet that goes with it, and some other connecting items that goes with it. That's what we do.
Okay. So how long have you said since 1990?
Yes.
Much older than I am, but I mean, I take it as it means you're doing a good job out there.
Thank you.
And you've been exhibitors on the EcoBank Join Its Habitat Fair 4 times.
Yes.
But it's your first time sponsoring the actual event, like the Habitat Fair.
Correct.
What made you change or switch from exhibitors to sponsors now?
I think there's a saying, the sweetness of the pudding is
in the eating.
So I remember 2016, when we moved our showroom to Kokomlemle and Malik approached us. Initially, we were feeling reluctant, but I think 16, 17, we saw a big improvement. Then again, we also got to know about how big the multimedia platform was. So these are some of the things.
Right.
And what it means is that, like I said earlier on, I say business is an improvement. So as you move and as you do these things, you realize, okay, move on to the next step by sponsoring, and that also gives you some
like
value.
that. Okay, so in terms of improving, what goodies do you have in store for those who will be visiting the second clinic, which is happening from the 25th to the 27th of July at Tema EcoBank office? What do you have in store for them?
City, for us, I always been saying people are buying things they don't know. And I want to borrow your team for the Habitat Fair. He said, dream it, own it, and live it. It means being able to, visualize or conceptualize something, and at the end of the day, being able to enjoy it. So it's about making sure Ghanaians will have value. Ghanaians will know what to buy on the market. Ghanaians will have what it takes to enable them be able to do that. So what we're saying is that for instance, you buy a bath. We give you, it goes with a bath kit, so that the water that you bathe in the bath will be able to flow properly. So we call it the gradient. Then again, it goes to the enclosure. Somebody said, okay, I will want to stand and bath. And in the enclosure, what happened is that you need certain things to get it right. So you need a recess tap instead of going in for a bath tap. These are things that we want to explain to Ghanaians.
So you'll be educating us. Exactly. And I want you to put out your contact details in case someone wants to reach out to you and I want to find out more. What number do they call? And is there a website? Is there a social media handle? Let's put all the important details in terms of how to find you out there.
Thank you one more time. First, you can find us at the showroom on 25 Dantu Street, adjacent Azuma Nelson Sports Stadium. And GA 1726005. That's where you can find us. Then again, if you want to call us on 024-588-9072. I repeat, 024-588-9072. And you can also find us on the website, the Builders Market, Ghana.com.
In fact, you are the Builders Market across all social media platforms.
Yes.
Okay, and so we are hoping to see you on the 25th. And hopefully when we come to your stand, you give us some cool discounts.
Certainly, 10%. Everybody's going to get 10%
all right.
if you want. And if you also tell us that you visited us at the exhibition, we'll also make sure you enjoy your 10%.
Thank you.
So remember, with Builders Market, we always said, bathroom, get it right.
Bathroom, get it right. That is Mr. Isaac Asari Badu. He's the CEO of Builders Markets, one of our sponsors this year for the EcoBank Joint Habitat Fair. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's get into other conversations now, right after this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Many thanks for your time on the AM show. Now, I want to tell you why it's important for you to take your health seriously. In the studio with me, representatives from Vitality Health 360 Wellness Clinic. We have Mr. Mark Pollack. He is the CEO of Vitality Health 360. And we also have Dr. Sandra Shong. She's a medical practitioner and the president of Herbal Medical Practitioners Office. No, that's not correct. You're the president of Ghana Association of Medical Herbalists. And Joseph Oliver Aite is a senior physician assistant. And it's really good to have you all here with us this morning. Thank you for joining us. Mark, I want to start with you. Introduce us to Wellness 360, Vitality Health 360, rather.
Okay, I think people are realizing now that health screening is very important. And so we use a service that was started in the UK and is now available on Oxford Street in Accra, in Osu. The service comprises of over 50 different tests that we do on each individual. Okay, so to understand what's happening inside the body, So it's not just screening for a particular thing, it's looking at the whole body. Many issues start, and early detection is very important. So by the time you've got the symptoms, it's late. So we can allow someone to check their body internally. We do the tests within less than an hour, and we create a report. And that report will show which parts of the body are in the optimal, they're working correctly, which are out of the optimal and where there are issues, and how they connect to each other, how one issue affects another one. Okay, so we produce that report, and that's individual to the person. They take that with them. But it also shows the diagnostic as well as recommendations. What do they need to do? What changes do they need to make so that they can improve their health?
I like that. If you check it and find out early, then you have a bigger chance of fixing whatever is wrong with you. Dr. Sandra, that brings me to you. How are what are the limiting behaviors or mentalities that we need to change in terms of taking regular checkups seriously?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. First of all, if you would look at the current morbidity and mortality rates in Ghana, in terms of people becoming more sick, it's really gone on, it's very high. And the main reason is that a lot of lives could have been saved if people took their health more seriously by probably being more proactive, by, going through some screening or the other. But you realize that most of these, especially with non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, they start as a silent, they are quite silent. So most people are not able to tell when they are sick. They only find out when it's an emergency. So we advocate and we always inform clients that it's key that you become proactive with your health and always go for medical screening, whether you are sick or not. So once you always do that, or you have that in your routine, it helps you or saves you. Probably the doctor is able to diagnose a particular condition on time, and then we are able to salvage the issue. So it's very key that every individual, irrespective of race, color, wherever you find it, poor or rich, wherever you find yourself, you need to take your health more seriously by being proactive about having screenings of your body as often as possible to save you from some of these non-communicable health conditions, which is now becoming a pandemic. I realized that a GME was something that they've started talking about it, and it's quite alarming and it's scary when you check the statistics we have about people who are passing away each day because they have not prioritized their health.
I like that. And Oliver, let's talk about what makes you stand out. There are a lot of other wellness clinics and facilities in the country, even right here in Accra. What makes you, or what is your unique selling proposition?
We are so unique in standard in the sense that this is the only test where we can conduct our 50 tests within a few minutes. And it's the first test one can assess in Ghana, first time ever. It's the only test where we can analyze your physical body, biochemical, lifestyle markers, as well as your body composition. We can access your kidneys through your urine sample. You can set your blood sample by checking your blood cholesterol, blood glucose, uric acid, as well as hemoglobin of your system. We can assess your cardiovascular system, that's your heart rate and your respiration. And then when all this is done, the system will generate a result. This is the sample of the result that will be generated. Good. When this result is generated, when your reports are in the green, it's perfect. But when it goes above the normal range, or below the normal range, it will give you recommendations of what you should be doing to have them corrected. Okay. We do not use medications. Just change your lifestyle and become very well again. Just that.
Oh, wow. Yes. Change in lifestyle.
Change in lifestyle.
Interesting. They say that we are all a product of our habits. So I'm guessing that's pivotal to that point. Like if you change the way you live, you live better or worse.
And then live longer.
And longer. Yeah. And Mark, how affordable are these services?
Oh, the service, the price for the service is 1,599 CDs.
Okay.
For a screening. But we do have a special at the moment, which is 1,200.
Actually, you have the details on your screen right now.
Okay. Okay. So We've had people that have used the service so far, and we've got really, really good feedback.
Okay.
So we're just trying to make people aware of it. Our health is everything.
Okay.
And we live under so much stress at the moment. One of the things that the service shows is the levels of stress that you're under, and also how your body's dealing with it. So some deal with stress better, but they say stress is a silent killer. So if you identify that you're stressed, then you can make the changes so that you can, as Oliver
Love it,
says,
absolutely. So let's talk about how and where to locate you. Oliver, you want to tell us your location,
Yes,
contact number, and maybe how we can find you on digital.
We are located at Usu, Oxford Street. Exactly. And our contact numbers.
So which part of Oxford Street?
We are just above East Cantonment Pharmacy.
Okay.
We are in the same building.
Okay.
Just story building. We are at the second floor.
All right.
Exactly.
And the numbers to
And
call?
our phone numbers are 053 83 41 778 and 020 59 11 275.
Thank you so much for coming. And like you said, you're offering some discounts. So I encourage all those listening to us now to rush now to Vitality Health 360. Get about 50 tests in 40 minutes. That sounds like a miracle.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a miracle, huh?
It is.
Dr. Sandra, I'll give you the final word. Yeah.
So because when I came into contact with Vitality Health 360, you know, I've practiced for some years now, and I realized this particular system is very unique, first of its kind in Ghana as a doctor, and I realized that it's very quick, it's very effective, and it's very efficacious in the sense that when you do those tests, it saves you a lot of money as compared to doing all those tests one at a time. So people shouldn't really look at the money aspect, but because if you are to compare, you realize that what Vitality Health 360 have is quite affordable. And now we've made opportunities for corporate institutions actually on a discount, actually with the HR manager, so that we can also screen most employees.
All right.
So that is also something that is being done at the moment.
Thank you. And maybe I'll pass by.
You should.
All right. So those who join us for this conversation, we had Mark Pollack. He's a CEO of Vitality Health 360. And we also had Dr. Sandra Shong, medical practitioner and the president of Ghana Association of Medical Herbalists, and Joseph Oliver Aite, senior physician assistant. And they brought you all the details on Vitality Health 360. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
I'll take a short break. When I return, I'll bring you something interesting before we wrap up. Stay with me. I want to spotlight two young women who are doing fantastic work. One of them is a valedictorian from Accra Metropolitan University. And the reason we are spotlighting them is because they're a product of a partnership from NDB Foundation. NDB Foundation is a Nadede Butchie Foundation. And Nadede Butchie herself is a digital communication expert and a winner for Ghana's Most Beautiful 2020. And she is the reason we have these two beautiful young ladies here. Introduce yourself to us and tell us how you have come to be here today.
I take up something, and I had a scholarship, I think, 4 years ago through the NDB Foundation to study human resource management at Accra Metropolitan University.
Okay.
And then I graduated recently with a first class. So that's how.
And you are the valedictorian?
No, please.
No, you are. Okay. Okay. Tell us your name and your experience with the NDB Foundation as well.
Okay, thank you. My name is Sophia Selali Kwashigan, and I also got a scholarship on the NDB Foundation. And then we were in school for 4 years, and we graduated just this Saturday, and I emerged the valedictorian. So that's why we are here.
Well, congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
And the whole point of this is we know that the NDB Foundation is championing inclusive education and empowering young women to take education seriously. And you both graduated thanks to the NDB Foundation. I'll give you 30 seconds each to say whatever it is you want to say to our audience now. I'll start with you, Madam Kwashigan.
Okay, thank you. I would like to say, first of all, a very big thank you to the NDB Foundation. If not for them, I wouldn't be here today. I would also want to extend my gratitude to the University, Accra Met, especially Professor Goski, for her support and everything, and to my family, church, and friends.
Thank you.
Okay, same here. I would also like to say thank you to Nade Debotri and then Professor Goski Alabi for the opportunity they gave me to study for my tertiary education. And also thank you to my friends, my family, for the support they gave me.
Well, there you have it. 2 young ladies graduated with first class, kind courtesy the Nade Debotri Foundation and the Accra Metropolitan University. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show this morning. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I did this with Samuel Kojo-Brace. We're back on your screens tomorrow. But Mamiesi Nyameche Thompson serves you News Desk. Up next.